Oh, man, are we ready to roll today or what? I'm sorry, are we ready to rumble? Whoa! 77 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge as we broadcast live from the 180 Pros studio. 180 Pros, not your IT provider, your IT partner. We got a lot of ground to cover today, y'all. Will Green from LABI stopping by. Adonica Duggan from the Baton Rouge Alliance for Students is stopping by. State Rep Jessica Domangue going to check in while she's on vacation, believe it or not. And Congresswoman Julia Letlow is just a few days away from finding out if she will be Senator-elect Julia Letlow or lame duck Julia Letlow. We're going to find out. We're going to talk to her, I should say, with D.C. Current presented by LABI. That's going to be in the 8 o'clock hour. And, of course, Attorney Franz Borghardt coming up about 20 minutes from right now. I assume everyone has seen the video. If they have not, let's get rolling with top stories and trending. Governor Jeff Landry added 2 more names to the LSU Board of Supervisors this month. Chad Moody and Jennifer Satoon were both added. Moody, who was on the 07 championship football team, replaces Patrick Morrow of Opelousas, who Governor John Bell Edwards appointed to the board, and Morrow is a major Democratic donor. Satoon replaces Lori Lipsy Aronson of right here in Baton Rouge. Multiple sources confirmed to the WAFBI team that former NFL and LSU running back Richard Murphy was driving the Ford F-250 involved in a deadly 2-vehicle crash in downtown Baton Rouge earlier this month. At the time of the crash, police said the driver of the F-250 was driving erratically and at a high rate of speed before running a red light, according to a news release. 94-year-old Robert Tarver and his daughter-in-law Carla Tarver, 69 years old, passengers in the Ford F-150, were pronounced dead at the scene. Takes us up to Zachary, where a Baton Rouge man was arrested yesterday for rape by Zachary police officers. Zachary police provided few details about 32-year-old Corey Ward's arrest, but said officers were dispatched to the Palms at Sunset Lake Apartments around 12:45 p.m. Monday in relation to an assault. Ward was booked in the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison yesterday for second-degree rape. Governor Jeff Landry announced yesterday that Louisiana and ExxonMobil had reached a final settlement agreement in lawsuits brought by parishes alleging that the oil company had polluted the state's coastline and contributed to its land loss crisis. The details of the deal will likely remain secret, as we've seen in other cases. Pastor Tony Spelkin scrap, y'all. A controversial pastor was arrested Tuesday after allegedly attacking the son of a family who lives across the street from his church. Mark Anthony Tony Spell, the pastor of Life Tabernacle Church along Hooper Road, was arrested and booked into East Baton Rouge Parish Prison for second-degree battery on Tuesday.
You want a prediction? You want a prediction?
Do I want a prediction? Sure.
Pain.
By the way, just as a point of clarification, I don't know if I could say allegedly enough as we talk about this story.
It was on video. It was on video.
That's going to be one of the major things we talk about in Legally Served, which is 18 minutes from right now. What you got, Breland?
Senator Bill Cassidy was one of 4 Republicans to cross party lines as the Senate adopted a resolution on Tuesday directing the president to remove military forces from the conflict in Iran. All right, let's go.
So, well, but can we, though? Here's the thing. This is where I get stuck, okay? Is Senator Cassidy's not wrong. Invoking the War Powers Act is constitutionally what they're supposed to be. Constitutionally, only Congress can declare war, right? So it is within their purview to do this. However, we're back and forth at the negotiating table, right? So if I'm Iran, and we have no idea who's actually in charge over there, but if I'm the head Iranian right now, and I see that the president does not have the support of his Congress behind him, and they're going to walk away, why would I negotiate anything at all?
That's true.
I would walk away from the negotiating table and say, I'm going to take whatever the H I want to because you don't have your people's support, and y'all are about to be out of my backyard anyway.
Oh, this can make us look really bad.
Make us look weak for sure.
Yeah, weak.
So I don't, we've been saying it's Groundhog Day. But
right.
man, this is a turn. This is the twist, to be sure.
Yep. The U.S. government plans to offer about $17.5 billion in low-cost loans to help utilities finance key components for a new wave of large nuclear reactors, aiming to restart large-scale nuclear construction. This is interesting.
So this feels like a follow-up to us having James Danley on the show last week.
Yep.
Deputy Energy Secretary James Danley, we talked about this before this even became a thing. So we might have been a little bit ahead of the news cycle by a couple days. But if you visit talk1073.com, he was on with us. It was Friday. It had to be Friday because I was out all last week. Yeah,
yes,
I was out all last week. So it was, scroll back a couple stories down. You'll find Deputy Energy Secretary James Danley, and we talked about this at length.
The name of Baton Rouge's new hockey team will likely be announced to the public by the end of July. Officials at the Raising Cane's River Center told WBRZ. Come on, Kingfish. Let's go. Yeah, bring it back,
Well, at
Brian.
this point, they kind of have to be the Spells, so you know they could fight.
Spells.
You know who would be good at hockey?
Who would be good at hockey?
Pastor Spell.
Oh, God.
He's got to ice skate first, Franz. I mean, there is more than just the scrap. Allegedly. 611 at Talk 107.3 FM at WBRP. Bridging the gap between healthcare and hospitality. Got to tell you about Guarantee Health Solutions. GuaranteeHealth.com is the website. Rachel Franke is the one who put Guarantee Health together, and she did so based off of her own experience going through a personal tragedy, a family tragedy, that felt so cold and transactional. And she was just like, there's got to be a better way. The bedside manner has to improve. I mean, you can't just be stuck with, this is what it is. Well, she got to work on how can you revamp the system to insert more hospitality into your healthcare, and from there, how can you turn that into greater business? So if you run a medical office of any kind, whether we're talking about a dentist's office, whether we're talking about an urgent care, whether we're talking about some kind of specialty care or a full-on hospital, visit GuaranteeHealth.com. GUARANTY, just like we have it here at Guarantee Media, GuaranteeHealth.com. Learn a little bit more, and then check them out. See if it would be worth bringing Guarantee Health into your medical office.
What is the best fight song?
Huh?
Best fight song. LL Cool J, I'm Gonna Knock You Out. What are some other good ones? Let's get ready to rumble.
Welcome to the jungle. I mean,
Wait, that was a good Guns N' Roses song.
just Google it, yeah. Yeah, it depends on what you're looking for. But yeah.
Little DMX.
You know what would be the best song to go over that particular video? Tupac's Hit 'Em Up. When you hear all the backstory about what they were allegedly shouting and everything, if Spell's running across the street and all you're hearing is, first of all, you bitch and a click you clack. Like, just, that would be amazing. Get money.
So do we know if he was on the other guy's property?
Look like it.
That's what it looked like. That's a problem.
Yep.
That's a problem. Can't claim self-defense if you're a place you're not lawfully supposed to be doing an unlawful activity, like beating that ass.
Gosh, there's going to be so many. Yeah.
I sat back last night and I thought, I know a lot of Catholic priests. Like, what Catholic priest do I know that would do something like that? Like, and then I started, what?
Only one.
Only one.
And he's been gone for a couple years.
Yeah.
I don't think he would cross the street to do it, but I think if you brought fisticuffs to him.
He would handle business.
Yes.
Wait, what
Father Mark Beard. Father Mark Beard would take you out if you came at him.
What church was he over?
St. Helena Catholic Church.
In a meet. The Our Lady of Hope retreat center. He's originally from Baton Rouge. Got moved for some BS, if you ask me, but
It's a very complicated time.
still a complicated time. But it wasn't the reason everybody thinks it is.
Right.
Why he got moved, why he did what he did. It was because he was lied to. I mean, you had Father Ruben Dykes give the sacraments talk when you were on 8.
Mm-hmm.
I had Father Beer.
Okay.
And I can tell you two things with complete certainty. Two things with complete certainty. Number one, he never cursed once during that. Number two, he called me a pussy 3 times.
Oh.
Like, he is so powerful, or was so.
You didn't have any cuts, right? For sports?
No.
Okay.
6:15, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. All right, so World Cup goes back to the top of the page because Ronaldo has scored a goal in 6 consecutive World Cups now. Portugal gets a 5-0 win yesterday. But the 6 consecutive World Cups set a record. That's why I'm bringing it up here. No, we're not going to be your World Cup headquarters, except for the things that go viral. NBA draft started last night, will continue tonight. There was some word that the Pelicans might be seeking their way back into the draft. Into the first round. Doesn't look like that came to pass. Very, very, I don't want to say an uneventful first round. Not a whole lot of takeaways from it. AJ Debantsta, I'm going to get that name wrong every time because the T is before the S. Debantsta, out of BYU, led the nation in scoring last year. He went number 1 overall to the Washington Wizards. Darren Peterson from Kentucky went to the Jazz after that. And then, to me, right out the blocks, the steal of the draft came with the number 3 pick. Cameron Boozer from Duke went to Memphis with a 3 pick. A decade from now, as we're looking at the NBA, I'd be willing to put my money on Cameron Boozer is the one who ascends from this draft to be a 15-year player in the NBA, a perennial all-star in the NBA. Of course, his old man was Carlos Boozer, and Cameron Boozer, just out of Duke, was AP Player of the Year, night in, night out. He was getting it done. If you are looking for some names you might recognize from LSU's schedule, because you sure as you know what aren't going to recognize names from LSU's roster in last night's round 1. Darius Acuff Jr. from Arkansas was the first Southeastern Conference player off the board at number 7 to the Sacramento Kings. And, where'd your boy from Tennessee go? There he is, Nate Ament from Tennessee, another stretch forward. He went number 13 overall to the Miami Heat. Now, the Pels were looking to get back into the draft at like pick 9 or 10, and the Tennessee forward was who they were going after. Round 2 is tonight, and you will get to hear the Pels make a pick. However, likely uneventful, as it won't be until pick number 58 overall, unless they can make some movement to get further up in the draft. I don't know what second-round projections look like for the NFL draft. Your second-rounders, I mean, they're not even fully guaranteed. So, but the draft will continue tonight. Again, not expecting the LSU names to be heard. And the Pels will get 1 pick. That's our only real local spin. Except for there was one other quick story about last night. The number 19 pick overall in the draft is from Ponchatoula. Alan Graves went number 19 overall to the Toronto Raptors. He is, I believe, the first Alan Graves, 6'9" forward who played for Santa Clara in college, 19th overall pick. 11.8 points per game, but his trajectory skyrocketed on the back half of last season, and we know the NBA is very heavy on the upside end of picking for the draft. So shout out to Tangibo Parish, shout out to Ponchatoula High, and Alan Graves. Good on you, coming in at number 19 overall. ExxonMobil has been in our backyard for over 115 years, y'all. Helping power Louisiana, helping provide good jobs, and doing so with a strong focus on safety and long-term investment in the communities. Now, energy needs are changing as we move into the future, y'all, and ExxonMobil wants to stay at the forefront. They're applying the experience they have to new solutions like carbon capture and storage. How are they doing that? What are they doing to maintain that safety and move towards the future? Well, visit aboutlaccs.com if you want to learn about it. Aboutlaccs.com.
House of Pain, Jump Around. Is that really a fight song? That's more of a drinking.
It's a hype song.
Hype song.
And then I'd just like to give him 10 and 5.
See, I think where people are getting confused on this is there's natural law, like you say something about my spouse and I handle up.
Sure.
And there are consequences of that, right?
Sure. Is there? Within our law? Is that even allowed?
No, you can't
Thank
take the
you.
law in your
Okay.
hands. You can't. You can't. That's the problem. That's the problem in this case, and we'll talk about it, is it's not self-defense.
Right.
It is, in fact, the definition of a second-degree battery if the guy lost consciousness or
Bro, that slam to the ground was like...
I got to tell you, I really kind of want to know more about the pastor because dude looks like he can fight.
Allegedly.
So, yeah, everything will have an ad. So, we're coming up on, we're out of sports now. We're about to get into
Didn't he hit somebody with a bus once? You remember that?
I mean, to me, this feels like an upgrade. He no longer needs the bus.
That's
Allegedly.
Oh, watch.
Best thing that ever happened to his church. Gonna raise a bunch of money. Gonna get a whole bunch of people there.
Hire some ring girls.
Stack itself will be a traffic opener. It'll say, top 173 traffic. And it'll be a little bad, that place. That's why I'll put Brian Reed's traffic. Be sure to put Brian in program 1 for that. It's the only time in the show where traffic...
If this is your first time attending the services at Tabernacle Church, you've got to fight.
Brian will actually read the...
Did you see the Sadvocate? The
No.
sign on the set?
Oh, yes, I did.
That'll fire off, and it'll just be a bed. Like 15 seconds, the bed.
What, my traffic?
Yeah, his traffic bed, but he will always read it. And that's the only time that Brian's going to read traffic. Every other time it gets hubbed in.
Tis a rough go coming in from Livingston Parish on I-12 this morning. If you are coming in, if you're coming in from Livingston Parish or points eastward, you're going to pump the brakes a good bit around Range Avenue, and you're going to stay on those brakes all the way up through Airline. There is an accident reported 12 westbound. It says between Millerville and Airline. It looks on the map like the accident is right there by Sherwood Forest. So after Sherwood, you'll start to speed back up again. Once you're past Airline, you're good to go all the way through the 10-12 merge, but there is going to be a significant length of time to get you from, say, the Amy River all the way up to Sherwood. Meanwhile, 10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish looks great. 10 eastbound coming across from West Baton Rouge and points beyond also looking good this morning. I-110 is good to go in both directions. Surface streets, there's no accidents to look out for right now. Literally the only thing that's on the big board is the accident 12 west right there by Sherwood Forest. That's your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
But tonight, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. I'm rocking my pants, putting suckers in fear, making the tears rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go boom.
Explosion!
Overpowering over the competition. I'm towering, wrecking shop. When I drop these lyrics that'll make you call the cops. Don't you
624, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Apparently, yesterday's sermon was about the beat attitudes. It's time for Legally Served. Morning, Franz.
Good morning, everybody.
How are you, sir?
So I was in federal court yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
Just mind, you know how I mind my own business.
Sometimes.
And my phone, like a Christmas tree, starts lighting up.
Yes.
And what was the headline?
The headline was, wait, let me scroll back up because I got it all the way down here. Pastor arrested for second-degree battery, allegedly ran across highway to beat victim.
And if that headline wasn't enough, the whole thing was caught on video.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
A few different angles, if I'm not mistaken.
Which we have questions about that as well.
Yeah.
A controversial pastor was arrested Tuesday after allegedly attacking a person who lives across from his church. Mark Anthony Tony Spell, the pastor of Life Tabernacle Church along Hooper Road, was arrested and booked in East Baton Rouge Parish Prison for second-degree battery on Tuesday. And then under that, I'm reading for WBRZ, by the way. And
You didn't
then
go
under
to
that,
Central City News?
As we're getting to that. No, that's next segment.
Okay.
Okay. And then right under that is the video. And when you click on the video, you see someone who, unless he's going to run the Shaggy defense, appears to be Tony Spell, who not walks, runs across Hooper Road, which, by the way, Hooper Road, pretty busy road.
That's a run. That's a run.
It's a run, and then pummels this kid.
Yeah.
I mean, your boy
Yeah.
did not know what he was getting into. Like
He gave him a servant of God.
yeah, there was a bit of a
So I don't think
FAFO going on
I don't
with
think
this
it's
one.
a fact in dispute. I think the Pastor Tony, would not dispute the fact that is in fact him in the video.
Well, okay. Look, I want to be careful though, because number one, if it is him, we've seen what he can do.
No.
And number
Does
two,
he know where this building is?
It's
He did make bond yesterday. He was
Okay.
arrested. Made bond.
and then there were services last night.
He in fact had a what was the phrase he used? He had a fire service, a red hot service last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, Pastor Spell is who it appears to be in the video. Comes across the street.
You remember our friend Pastor Spell? Why is Pastor Spell famous?
Oh, because he's the head of the Branch Covidians.
No. Life Tabernacle Church.
That's correct. That's correct.
He became famous during COVID.
When there was a shutdown, and he said, "I don't care what the rest of the world does. I play by my own rules."
And he
I don't care.
may or may
and
not.
by the way, hang on. Let's remember this was early in COVID,
Right?
Not when stuff started dragging out. This was early out the blocks, and he said, "I don't care about the rest of the world. I don't care about any of your laws or rules.
I care about
Government
God.
does not reign over me. I do my own thing." And he held services.
He may or may not have hit somebody with a bus.
That
Allegedly.
might also be on video too.
Yeah. I mean, this guy has bad video luck.
He does.
Or good video luck.
Well,
So, poop hits the fan.
Mm-hmm.
Pastor runs from his property to what appears to be the property of the neighbor. This is a neighbor.
right. Now,
That is significant.
backstory is this neighbor, the whole family,
They don't get along.
they don't get along. Not real full-on Hatfields and McCoys, but
The neighbor, depending on who you talk to and what comments you read, the neighbor and his family may or may not allegedly have been making racist comments about mixed race congregants. Is that the term? Parishioners? Whatever
Okay.
you call it. And then also may have made a comment about raping the pastor's wife.
like
Like,
wanting
I'm going to rape your wife or something of that nature. That allegedly.
Let's start there.
Fighting words. Can fighting words
Thank you.
raise to the level of being able to incite violence? Well, yeah, but here's the thing. First of all, self-defense hinges on reasonable harm. Reasonable harm. You have to be a place that you lawfully can be. So if the pastor ran across the highway and onto someone's property, which I'm quite sure he was not welcome to be on, self-defense is not going to work.
Thank you.
So this commentary about, well, the 20-year-old swung first. No. If Pastor Spell is on a property that he is not lawfully able to be on, self-defense fails.
Okay.
That's Louisiana law. Can words be enough to to incite violence? Well, sure. But is that a lawful defense? And the problem is, well, it depends on the words. Depends on proximity. It depends on the danger. And I just don't know that you have that here. That said, there's a lot to unpack here. A lot.
Yep. Yeah, but we got news stepping in right now, so we're going to break. Of course, there is a lot more to unpack. We had more topics to cover this morning, but I don't think we're going to get through half of the Pastor Spell stuff. Hey, before we hit news, let me remind you, Matthew chapter 5, verse 38 and 39, you have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for tooth. But amen, I say to you, offer no resistance to one who is evil. When someone strikes you on your right cheek, turn the other one to him as well. News coming up. We'll start nationally with ABC. Get it locally after that. Traffic, weather, then more legally served with attorney Franz Borghardt.
Almost like Brian's preaching.
I do think, and this is not a law commentary, I think the unfortunate thing is something like this happens and it affects every single other pastor of any denomination, priest or pastor, because it's a poor reflection of values with regard to the overarching religion, even though that's not true, right?
Maybe I'm skewed because I'm Catholic, but no.
You feel good about it?
We don't have, no. Pastor Spell's congregants are there for Pastor Spell. That's, I mean, like, he is the leader of the Life Tabernacle Church. Jesus Christ is the leader of the Catholic Church.
So one of the issues that we need to talk about is domestic terrorism at churches. I don't think that that's what you have here, but the legislature, you do a lot with the legislature.
Oh, let me go read Woody's dumbass thing again.
Oh, it's not domestic terrorism. It wasn't at a church. It was across the street from a church.
Michelle's leading with it, too. I love it.
Michelle.
Southern and doing news.
Yes, I knew that story. Yeah, I love how everything west of the Mississippi.
You know what I would buy a ticket for? A UFC fight at Life Tabernacle Church. I would buy a ticket to that. You put it out, put a ring out in the yard.
Yeah.
I would pay big money for that.
For a UFC fight outside of...
Or a sanctioned fight.
When you want to hear things louder and cue, this is your little knob. And then when you were trying to watch WBRZ earlier, I gave you cue for internet. And when you want to hear things, put it in cue. Without putting it on the air, of course. Yeah, cue.
Because if it's up, it will still go on the air.
Yep, if this knot is up, I would have fired Brian on the air just now. So if you want to hear something without going on the air, make sure that knob's down and cue.
By the way, just as a tease, and I don't normally tease all the way to the end of the show, but y'all are not going to want to miss the last segment of the show today.
We have Tony Spell on.
No, completely different topic. We're going to be talking about Congress.
So by the way,
Check your email for music.
I think it's appropriate. I think it's appropriate to say this. Didn't you invite the pastor during COVID to come on the show?
Yes.
And he refused to do it?
Yes.
Or he was too busy?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, yes. Okay, so, let me make sure I have this timeline right, because I also remember getting death threats for saying that while the rest of the world is going along to get along for a week or two, Pastor Spell can't miss 1 week of a collection plate, and then I got threats for that. And then when he held his services and I went out to go get some video from the services, a big old fat dude with like a shotgun walked out to me and advised me to leave. Yes.
And you left?
No, I crossed the street. Probably was in these people's yard.
Oh my God, y'all.
So,
I remember he was like,
as someone who occasionally gets death threats, I'm going to quote my boy Omar from The Wire.
Yeah.
I keep one in the chamber if you're pondering.
oh my God.
Exactly. I got to tell you, I kind of like this kind of fiery religion, though. I kind of like...
Good holy war?
This is... I will say this during the segments if you want, or we can talk about it. I'll say it again. This is the best thing that ever happened to Life Tabernacle Church. He's probably going to get free representation. There's some attorney who will represent him for free. Or even if he has to spend money for representation, he'll fundraise. There'll be some kind of GoFundMe or something that will... Yeah, he ain't going to pay for anything. Oh, they passed around that hat yesterday. And look, I'm a member of a church that likes to pass around the hat, so I'm not judging that. We sometimes like to pass the basket 2 times in one service. I mean, right?
We had 2 last weekend.
Yeah.
But I mean, one was for
Different funds.
try to raise money for the.
My point is, I do not mind a church collecting collections. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the church selling parts of the church that are being refurbished or.
There is no religious organization on earth that does more good with its money than the Catholic Church.
I agree.
That's not even close.
Get buried in people's LABI. So I'm just not going to put it on Facebook.
Are you going to be at practice tonight, or Christy?
I think I'm firing up the grill tonight, so Christy's going to handle practice.
Okay.
We'll see if I'm done and pull the steaks off and let them sit for a little while. I'll go pick them up. Let her go get Abby from SJ. 636, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Legally served with attorney Franz Borghardt, rolling right along as well. Okay, we were talking, Franz, before we hit the break there. We were talking about domestic terrorism and threats at churches and whatnot.
At places of worship.
However, everything about this story does not happen at church. It happens in the Sherwin's yard.
So when this went down, there was a central publication. Is that the right word? Publication.
Central City News. Yeah, it's titled Central City News, but everything in it is opinion.
Right. That started immediately making comments or posts about domestic terrorism at church legislation. And the problem is that two things. One, the legislation that was proposed was about services at churches, in churches, places of worship.
Right.
This went down across the street on someone else's property.
Right.
In fact, you can watch on video the pastor sprint, not walk, not stroll, but run to the other property.
All right.
So that's the problem number one. Problem number two is that legislation that was proposed doesn't offer an affirmative defense if you start a fight with someone.
Now, this is where we need to get into the real legal nitty-gritty here. What constitutes starting the fight?
So, is it first swing? Not necessarily, because that's the other comment that's, oh, no, the 20-year-old swung first. Wait a minute.
He did.
If I run aggressively at you, and let's not mince words.
Onto your own property.
Leading you to believe what? I'm about to get attacked?
Right.
It's not about swinging first always. Now, who starts the fight, and who wins the fight, that's not the legal standard. The legal standard is, one, are you where you lawfully can be? Pastor was not lawfully where he could be. Self-defense will fail.
Right.
It's not a defense of others. That fails too. Why? Because he's not a place he lawfully can be. If this goes down across the street on church property, it becomes an entirely different situation.
Well, at that point, I would start to endorse all of the domestic terrorism and hate crimes things because now you've invaded their space.
In fact, to insinuate that this is domestic terrorism at a church, in my mind, as someone who loves me some church, undermines what's really going on that constituted the need to protect churches.
Right.
The inside the church protesting, the obstruction of worship. I'm not saying this neighbor and this church didn't have a long-standing feud, because it sounds like for years they've been going at it. They're bad neighbors.
Right.
However, to say that what happened yesterday was the obstruction of worship is like looking at you and saying, you're stupid. I think you're stupid. And that is what pisses me off about the Central News post that started about domestic terrorism is he thinks people are stupid.
That we're just going to believe that this is domestic terrorism and hate crime.
Man.
It's a feud. Yeah. It's a feud, and that's a whole different part.
And
we're gonna get to that part in a little bit as well. I want to go back to this post from Central City News. It says domestic terrorism and hate crimes, holding a gun as he makes obscene gestures, an attempt to violate freedom of religion by trying to make people afraid to attend church. This is Scott Sherwin, and there's a picture of him underneath the post, making an obscene gesture towards members of the Life Tabernacle congregation as they were leaving church around 1:45 on the afternoon of August 10th, 2025. So this was almost a year ago now, right? And he goes on to say, according to Sister Shay Spell, Sherwin has done this over 1,000 times since March of 2020. Well, first of all,
Do you not have a right to have a gun on your property?
There's not 1,000 Sundays, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, that's the question.
And by the way, isn't it just a little disingenuous for a church that often has people wielding guns to commentary on neighbors having guns in their own yards?
I mean, part of the Second
hypocrisy?
Amendment. Maybe, but that's what I'm asking about, though, is if I'm shouting something across the street, that's one thing. My words can't hurt anyone from across the street, but a weapon can.
I got asked this question yesterday. Let's dig in even deeper. What if the words are racist? What if the words are, I'm going to rape your wife?
Okay, I find it interesting that you put those in that order. How is racist worse
but
than
those were the two.
But like an aggressive threat of rape, to me, should trump everything else as far as how far up the ladder this goes.
Well,
now that's going to bring us around to what has the pastor done in the past to make this go away, to have this resolved legally before going to vigilantism.
So the Central City News reported, I think, they reported that the police had been called numerous times and never did anything. Police say on the other hand, we've never been called. Somebody's lying.
Well, yeah. Somebody is. Police Chief Roger Corcoran says
and let me
that's
be
never happened.
very clear. Let me be very clear. There is a natural law, and then there's the law. Natural law is if I make a comment, I know your spouse. I adore your spouse. If I made a comment to you that I'm going to rape your wife, you may beat that ass, pardon my language. You may beat it, and I may have it coming, but that's not a defense to you necessarily under the law. Like the you had it coming defense doesn't always work. In fact, most of the time it doesn't work. So look, pastor's been charged with second-degree battery, which means that there was a loss of consciousness or some kind of break. Broken bones, I don't know. Probably.
Well, the move that looked like a choke slam probably shook some things up.
Yeah. It's a felony.
And then punched him a few times after the slam.
He is now upgraded to felony charges. When he allegedly hit somebody with his bus, that probably should have been a felony, but I don't think he was ever convicted of that or convicted of a felony.
I don't think so.
Yeah. He's been these are felony charges. And by the way, we're in an environment. This is the irony. We're in an environment where we have a governor going on radio, going on TV, talking about hugging thugs.
Right.
Hug a thug. So what happens to the pastor now?
Problem is, everybody involved in this is a thug.
Yeah.
Problem is, the family across the street has been antagonizing, trying like hell to draw him out, and finally he took the bait.
They found what they were looking for.
Right.
Let's not mince words about that either. So anybody thinks that because I'm biased against Pastor Spell, those neighbors are probably not good people. They found that 20-year-old found exactly what he was looking for.
Right.
Hook, line, and sinker.
You're right. He's 20?
I think he's 20.
Okay. I want to let's. There's so much to cover. It's hard to stay on topic. The alleged call into the police, previous calls to Chief Corcoran's office. The police say that never happened. My follow-up question then is, if the police won't do anything, don't we have a sheriff's office as well?
Oh yeah, we have different law enforcement agencies. But here's the thing. Here is the thing. That argument, all arguments fail. Not the video that. The part of the video that is so damning in my mind as a defense attorney, and let me be clear, I would, for the right money, I would defend Pastor Spell. Franz Borghardt's a mercenary. I absolutely could defend him. First thing I jokingly told to you was what? Well, what did the person do to deserve the beat down? The part that's damning, that's really difficult to defend is the sprint. The running from point A which brings us back to my previous question. Yeah. What constitutes starting a fight? Well,
I'm gonna put myself in Pastor Spell's shoes here. I was getting across the street just to talk to him. I got across the street and he threw a punch. Now it's on.
Onto somebody else's property.
Just
where
to
I'm
talk
probably
to him.
Not welcome.
I just want to talk to him.
Yeah.
I just want to talk to him. and then he throws
I'm not
a punch.
touching you. I'm not touching
right,
you. I'm not
I
touching
know,
you.
but that's that to me. If I'm Pastor Spell, that's the exact argument I'm giving.
The problem is
I went over to talk to him, and he threw a punch at me.
You're not running and sprinting across the street. If that's what you're, is it possible that a God-fearing pastor would go to try to talk and diffuse the situation
At a sprint?
and at a sprint? Unlikely.
Unlikely. But what I'm saying, though, is that's going to be my defense. Is he started and I finished it. So,
Pastor Tony definitely finished that.
so here comes my next question. And we only got about a minute and a half before break, maybe even less than that. Here comes my next question. There is what starts a fight and there is what finishes a fight.
Just because you win doesn't mean you're in self-defense.
Well, so kid throws punch, pastor hits back. Pastor allegedly choke slams, right?
You don't get to use that level of force. That's the
After
problem.
that, there are more punches thrown. Is there something that can determine when the fight is over with and he was egregious in that?
Probably when the kid lost consciousness.
All right. That's that. I mean, that's what I was asking.
So you get to use the law says reasonable amount of force to repel the threat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you create the threat, you don't get to use self-defense. And this is not a self-defense. And by the way, same standard for defense of others. If you're out there, if you're a Pastor Tony fan, and you're like, well, I mean, he has the right to defend his congregation. He has the right to defend the honor of his wife. No. You cannot break the law in an effort to
defend his wife. This isn't Johnny Sack and Ralph Cifaretto.
No. She's a lady. Point is, you cannot break the law and then simultaneously use self-defense as a defense.
That's where we're going to pick it up when we come back. Quick look at traffic. Quick look at your money now. We got attorney Franz Borghardt in for Legally Served. Vigilanteism is going to come up next.
He's like a Marvel hero. Life Tabernacle forever. Fun fact, I once referred those neighbors to Richard Sprinkle.
Nice.
Richard writes, tell Brian that defense will not pass the reasonable doubt defense.
What if you tell someone, like, keep talking like that and I'm coming to beat your ass? And
No.
That's a further indictment, though. That's you're declaring you're about to break the law.
So at that point, you're assaulting them. That's assault, brother.
Oh, Lord.
I will say again, as someone who is a mediocre Christian, who's trying to be better, I see stuff like this happen, and I'm like, this hurts every single Christian that is really trying to promote a good religion. And I use the word Christian. I didn't say Catholic. It hurts the entire religion because this is emblematic. This is one of your pastors. This is one of your shepherds.
And this is how we act.
And this is how you act. This is how you guys act.
Yeah. What is he? Assemblies of God? What type of?
I don't know. Do we know the denomination? Is it non-denominational? I don't think it's Baptist.
Denominational, but I think it's Assemblies of God. Because they do a lot of like.
No, we went through this during COVID, and I forgot all.
Look, I'm sure that church does a lot of good. I'm sure that fact not in dispute. I don't know, but I'm willing to.
It is. It's apostolic Pentecostal.
Okay.
And no, when you see the buses driving around town, they're picking up kids who are going to get faith and get fed, and that's and at the end of
I'm
the
a
day,
fan of that.
that to me is indisputable. That his initial mission is that he ain't right sometimes.
Brian, he ain't right.
He may need a mental health evaluation. You know what we should do? You and I should attend services there. Just once. You want to go with me? Just go. Just once.
I'm never going back there again. I won't even go to the Breck Park across the street from there.
They know
Dude,
what Brian
once you-
Haldane looks like.
I'm willing to go. I
I got death threats on the phone, and I had a fat dude with a shotgun come at me.
I'm willing to go to any
Like,
service.
once you have a fat dude with a shotgun come at you,
I'm willing to go to any Christian service once, just to experience, taste the flavor. I got invited recently. My youngest brother is super into the Orthodox Church right now. And he was like, man, we should go just to one service. And I was like, how long is the service? Like 4 or 5 hours. So I was like, oh.
Right.
My services last like 1 hour. Just
I
saying.
went to a wedding, a Catholic wedding, a Latin Catholic mass with somebody getting married. That was 3 hours long.
Oh, Lord. A lot of kneeling. We kneel a lot.
Yeah, y'all do.
God likes to be knelt to. Take off your shoes. This is holy ground.
See, I'm non-denominational, but when I went to Catholic church growing up, I'm like, damn. I'm like, when do I kneel? When do I stand up? When do I
You
sit?
just follow the herd. Do what everybody else does.
How is that?
Not
It's not difficult.
No, I know, but like,
Okay. When
I was
So
when you're passive, you're sitting. When you're participating, you're standing. When you're in the presence of God, you're kneeling. And after the host is blessed, once bread becomes body, now you're kneeling. Except when you're participating, then you stand back up.
very structured.
Yeah.
I had to learn it fast. is
How
what I'm
does-
saying.
how
Like,
does-
I went up because I wasn't Catholic. I had to do this for communion
Correct.
to be blessed.
Correct.
I mean, I also want to know, how does one become a pastor there? I am a extraordinary minister, which means I serve Eucharist. I'm not worthy to do that. But how does one become a pastor?
I think you should take an online test.
You think it's like a certificate online?
Yeah.
It's not like Catholicism where they have to go through a
A
whole
seminary? Yeah.
You just go to school and then you take a test or something like that.
I don't think you have to go to school.
Really? Yeah, Jimmy Swagger's Bible College.
I can stay until 7.
Oh, God, I hope so. I was already banking on that.
I got court TV at 9, but
Where were we taking this from here? Oh, vigilantism.
victim blaming.
Completely unintentional, but the instrumental bed for #1 stunner on the way back in.
What is his finishing mood called?
That-
Rod of God?
That's no. It's spare the rod, choke slam the child is what it was. We got.
I hope that kid's okay. I hope that 20-year-old's okay.
That's well. I want to talk about that part too.
Where do you think Pastor works out?
He's got to have a gym in the church, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. All right. So, can you take the law into your own hands?
yes, that's where we're going next because let's assume that he has called police before. Let's assume that even though Central PD says there's no record of it, which, by the way, is there ever not a record of calling 911? They record those,
Dispatch,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So let's assume that the pastor's right on that front, okay? Even with that, there is a level to where you go back to what Woody posted, over 1,000 incidents. Over 1,000 Sundays, or after 1,000 services. I shouldn't assume Sundays. This could happen every single day of the week. But this has happened over 1,000 times since March of 2020. Is there a boiling point aspect to this? Is there a part where they could say enough is enough?
Well, vigilante justice is not about boiling points.
Mm-hmm.
It's about you see a crime, there's nowhere around, nobody is around to take care of the crime. And so you take law into your own hands, and we do have exceptions in the law for that. You can stop a shoplifter. There's a merchant law in there. There is self-defense. You can act in self-defense. There is such a thing as citizen arrest. He wasn't going over there to make a citizen's arrest, though.
No.
He wasn't going over there to chat.
No.
Let's.
I will be real about that. I don't think he was either. But at the same time, though, I think he's going to garner a certain section of the public who is going to, believes anything that comes out of Central City News, where everything comes out of Central City News as if we're news and not opinion. It's editorial.
So here's the thing.
99%
Here's
of it
the
is
thing.
editorial. But
do we want citizens taking the law into their own hands? No, because they're not trained to do that, and that's how other people get harmed and hurt. So, here's the kicker. Let's say 20-year-old has a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Pastor Tony runs at him, charges at him, sprints at him. and 20-year-old fears for his life.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Pastor Tony can fight. We've seen it.
Yeah.
And 20-year-old, while on his own property, shoots someone who's trespassing on his own property. Totally preventable. Totally unnecessary. It's a totally different scenario, right? Look, that congregation, Brian said earlier, that congregation during COVID had congregants with firearms.
Not inside.
Outside.
I never went inside.
You
so
never
I
went inside?
No.
I want to go inside so bad. If you are a congregant at Life Tabernacle Church and you invite me to go, Franz Borghardt will go. I love that fire brimstone feel I got coming out of that church. I'm on it. And I like Central. Everything about Central in that video yesterday makes me want to move out there. Point is.
Let's get back on track. I want to read to you a message. I got a DM on Twitter, and I'm not going to say who it came from. Okay, here we go. Right jury, Pastor Tony walks.
That is not inaccurate. That's not inaccurate.
You can't say you're going to rape somebody's wife. How much of the weight of what the Sherwins, how much of the weight of what they were allegedly saying, which I don't know if any of what they were saying is actually caught on camera or on tape, if there's any audio of what they've allegedly threatened over the past, or if there's just, that's what he said.
Where the law really comes down is, if you say something that is so ridiculous that it's not to be taken seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this pastor absolutely is going to want a jury trial. He's absolutely going to want the circus that is a jury trial. And maybe the right jury will acquit him. I don't know, though. Because if he has a jury trial and he testifies, and by the way, he'd have to testify. He's not required to testify. A whole bunch of stuff's going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
This is
wait, don't abandon that.
So
possibly what?
If I'm a prosecutor, I'm going to get in I'm going to try to get in other crimes, other bad acts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try to litigate in the bus, almost running over another human being, and say that this pastor has a propensity towards what? Violence.
Yeah. You know.
If I'm the prosecutor and we're going balls to the wall jury trial, 6-person jury trial, or 12, depending on what the nature of the crime is, he could walk. He also could go to jail, because let's not get around this. This is a felony charge.
Right.
Normally, a first-time felon offender wouldn't go to jail.
Right.
But so I'm just saying, maybe that's right. Maybe the right jury walks him, and maybe that's what he wants. Best thing that ever happened to this church since the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Best thing that ever happened to this church since the pandemic was this video, this incident. They're going to raise oodles of money.
I don't know, man. The interview with Nakamoto where the ankle bracelet was properly framed the entire time, that did him some good. Hey, is my ankle bracelet in frame?
This is going to make national news.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
I mean,
goodness,
the headline sells itself.
Yes, it does.
And isn't the irony that for once the news headline involving clergy or a pastor or a man of God isn't about rape or sexual assault or something of that nature? It's about
badassery.
Badassery.
Look, okay, I've done my level best to stay like as even.
You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job.
No, because why is there a part of me that like respects the fact that he can fight?
I think
look,
that,
you combine it with, and look, I want to be very, very clear. Like, I know it sounds like we're very one-sided on this issue, but every time you see those Life Tabernacle Church buses, and I don't know if we said this on air or we said this during the break. I want to make sure it's on air. Okay, every time you see those buses driving around streets that are outside of Central, you know there are kids that are getting faith and getting fed that otherwise wouldn't.
I love it.
And so it's not as one-sided. Man, and look, what's the every saint has a past, every sinner has a future. But he done messed up here.
Let me exercise a lack of humility. I told someone yesterday
quick.
I would represent him and I'd walk him.
Yeah.
But he's got an issue right now.
Yeah.
And it looks like he violated the law on video.
Well, and the video is probably going to be the most damning thing of it all. Yeah. He's attorney Franz Borghardt. We do legally serve about this time every single week. We're due up for a break. We got news. We got ABC News. We got traffic. We got weather. Hour 2's coming up next right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Wednesday.
Unless Franz is out of town.
I never go
Sometimes twice a week.
I never go out of town. I never am out of town.
Sometimes we do it twice a week if there's like a lot going on.
Stew Juice is grilling today at the.
Yeah, I know. It's a Wednesday.
Must be nice.
It's a Let's all go out to Terra
So-
Pool and tie one on a Wednesday.
So I've got practice. As a parent, changing subjects. As a parent, when the boy is practicing, I like to watch practice and spend time there and show support. I sometimes am the parent that drops him off and comes back and picks him up. I'm not gonna lie, I sometimes do that. But
You're supposed to. You're supposed to drop them off and come pick them up.
you know, are they you discouraged from
No,
watching?
no, you're not discouraged from watching, but it's different for me because
You're not a bad
I
parent if you
coach my,
drop 'em.
Right,
You're-
I coach my kids as well, but they're not getting any. The kids aren't getting anything from you in practice. Everything they're getting comes from their coach,
Right.
or coaches,
Right.
in this case. So, and it's different for me because I'm a coach. In a different, like when they're at Mercy, I'm coaching James, or I was coaching Abby, or I was coaching Carrie. When Bo's got them, Bo's got them. They don't need to be looking up at the stands and saying, "Dad, was that right?"
Yep.
So it might be a little bit different for me from that perspective, but there's nothing wrong with dropping your kid off and then coming back.
High noon at 11 a.m.
David Saint Remain,
I'm gonna try to make it over there. I like David.
he's gonna sing a little bit too. So
I'll see you guys.
later, brother.
Bye, Franz. And the reason I'm taking that out, on Spreaker, we can't have music. So I took.
Except we're going to. Oh no. Well, no, not for the no. For the interviews, that's where Spreaker is. The interviews. I'm saying for Facebook and YouTube, we get muted for music, but
That's
we're.
what I was trying to explain to you.
There are times where I will call for it anyway because it's part of the content, not just a bump to come in. So today it's part of the content. So it's going to be the last segment of the show. So even if it gets muted, we're already done anyway.
Like, kind of like earlier when you saw me take it out, the LL Cool J song, and I'm like, you know what? I'm like, nope, I want Facebook to hear that. We don't get monetization-wise, we don't get fined. It's just Facebook will mute us and it'll shadow ban that one live because we play music license. It's so stupid.
It will mute. What do you mean? It will just like cut the audio for that
No,
one part?
it'll
or
like-
What do you mean muted?
It'll like, Ron, what you mean by muted? Just another way of saying we get shadow banned for that one video.
You'll get a message from Facebook that says your video has been muted for violation of copyright laws,
Oh, yes.
and then there'll just be no audio over the video.
For that one section or for a larger section?
I don't know how long it cuts out. We normally just
Yeah,
move on.
Normally, we just don't even risk it. But in this case,
The thing is, Facebook normally catches these things 2 or 3 days later, and after 24 hours, the show has gotten all the views it's going to get. So,
there's two ways
and good morning, Christy. Welcome in, Boo.
to tell you. For your purpose, we have a system that I call a skimmer. It's Sterling. It's how it records everything that goes on the air, if that makes sense. Yeah, Kate probably showed you that. I wouldn't use that. I did. I would use Adobe. Just record straight into Adobe. Because Sterling, the first time I used it, I'm like, what the fuck? It was so, and nobody told me how I had to teach myself. And so it's very confusing. To me, Sterling.
I need to use it more often because I still don't know how to pull audio. Like, what's the right? I know how to highlight the audio. I don't know how to download the audio.
Weird buttons, it's like you're. So just record into Adobe.
Well, once you understand Sterlitz, it's way easier than trying to record into Adobe.
I know.
Because when you're recording into Adobe, you're hamstrung on what you're able to use from that seat to begin with. 7:05. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, Bree Lynn producing, bringing you the 7 o'clock hour, and a busy 7 o'clock hour it will be as we are starting off the 7 o'clock hour at 77 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge, broadcasting live from the 180 Pros studio. Will Green from LABI due up in our next segment. Let's talk a little Business Excellence Awards. And Adonica Duggan from the Baton Rouge Alliance for Students going to join us later on this hour. 7:35 is when we have Adonica coming on. And we've got just a slew of topics to cover there. Predominantly Changemakers is going to be at the top of the list. Right now, though, let's go ahead and start off with top stories and trending. One person was taken to the hospital after a late-night shooting along Winburn Avenue. The shooting, which happened around 11 p.m. last night near the corner of Winburn and Easton Street, left one person injured. Hospitalized in stable conditions, officials said. We don't have any more on motive or suspects or anything like that. Multiple sources confirmed to the WAFB I-team that former NFL and LSU running back Richard Murphy was driving the Ford F-250 involved in a deadly two-vehicle crash in downtown Baton Rouge earlier this month. At the time of the crash, police said the driver of the F-250 was driving erratically and at a high rate of speed before running a red light. 94-year-old Robert Tarver, his 69-year-old daughter-in-law Carla Tarver, passengers in a Ford F-150 were pronounced dead at the scene. Governor Jeff Landry added two more names to the LSU Board of Supervisors this month. Chad Moody and Jennifer Satoon were the two names. Moody, who was on the 2007 LSU football team, the national championship team, replaces Patrick Morrow of Opelousas, who Governor John Bell Edwards who had appointed to the LSU board and is a major Democratic donor. Satoon's going to replace Lori Lipsy Aronson from right here in Baton Rouge. Speaking of Governor Landry, he announced yesterday that Louisiana and ExxonMobil had reached a final settlement agreement in lawsuits brought by parishes alleging that the oil company had polluted the state's coastline and contributed to its land loss crisis. The details of the deal will likely remain secret, as we've seen in other cases. Well, we talked about it for the last half hour, y'all. A controversial pastor was arrested yesterday after allegedly attacking the son of a family who lives across the street from his church. Mark Anthony Tony Spell, the pastor of Life Tabernacle Church on Hooper Road, was arrested, booked in the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison for second-degree battery. What you got, Breland?
Senator Bill Cassidy was one of 4 Republicans who crossed party lines as the Senate adopted a resolution on Tuesday directing the president to remove military forces from the conflict with Iran.
Tough spot to be in right there.
I know. Last hour, I was saying, let's go, because I'm ready to get out. But you brought up such a good point. From the world's view, this makes us look weak.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm Donald Trump, or J.D. Vance is running point on this, but if I'm Donald Trump or J.D. Vance, I got to look over my shoulder and say, do y'all not have my back? We're at a negotiating table right now. But now, and again, negotiations can't go on in perpetuity. But as for right now, a little solidarity wouldn't be the worst thing to call. Now, conversely, only Congress can declare war, and at what point does a 4-week skirmish turn into something real? So I see both sides on this one.
There's so many layers to this, though.
Timing is 90% of it, right?
Yep. The U.S. government plans to offer about $17.5 billion in low-cost loans to help utilities finance key components for a new wave of large nuclear reactors, aiming to restart large-scale nuclear construction.
So, rewind the clock back to Friday. Deputy Energy Secretary James P. Danley was on the show.
Yep.
And this is exactly what we were talking about. This is we jumped the news cycle by a couple days on this one. You said large-scale reactors.
Yes.
Yes, but there will also be a component of this that is the smaller reactors that are going to be attached to the data centers that are going up all over the country. That was what we were talking about on Friday.
Yeah.
So it's a two-part story. It's available at talk1073.com, courtesy of the folks at Lake Urgent Care.
The name of Baton Rouge's new hockey team will likely be announced to the public by the end of July. Officials at the Raising Cane's River Center told this to WBRZ.
And you want the Kingfish to come back?
I do, because it was Baton Rouge hockey back in its day.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice if, and I was seeing online, people are saying, well, what about the ice skaters? No, that's Lafayette.
That was
that's,
Lafayette,
That's
yeah.
Acadiana.
Yeah.
We need our own. And I would like to bring the Kingfish back. I mean,
I don't know. I don't feel like we've gotten it right yet. I mean, the Kingfish was. I don't want to go back to the Kingfish, but at the same time, the Zydeco, can we all agree that was a
No.
swing and a miss?
right. And we're
I mean,
Baton
God bless
Rouge.
him for bringing hockey here, and I know there's a growing number of hockey fans in Baton Rouge, and I want more hockey in Baton Rouge, but that was a swing and a miss.
Right.
I
We're
just-
Baton Rouge, Zydeco, Acadiana, and everything west. That would be more fitting, but we're Baton Rouge. We're
Yeah.
on the east side of the river. We're not Zydeco.
Right. I don't know. We'll put it up for a vote again, and maybe third
Yeah.
time's a charm for a good name. I don't know
Yeah.
that a good name gets everybody out there. I will say this, though. A good name can be the difference in selling merch.
Yes, that's very
And
true.
when you're talking about a small-time minor league hockey team, you throw in a couple extra $1,000 in merch sales, and that can be the difference between being in the red and being in the black. I mean, that's so you
have
give
a
me
good point.
you give me a well-named team with a hot logo, and yeah, put the I know it's hockey, but put it on a baseball jersey, put it on a hockey jersey, put it on
Yep.
any jersey out there, and you're going to sell more.
Yep. You have a good point.
Thank you. Baton Rouge Metro Airport is here for you with top stories and trending every single day, and Baton Rouge Metro Airport is here for you in real life as well. Actually, before we get to real life, let me send you to flybtr.com. Flybtr.com is the website to book your flights. If you're making travel plans throughout the summer, if you're making business travel plans, personal travel plans, if you're looking ahead to LSU football this fall, there are a number of direct flights built out already for you. The direct flights go to, oh man, now I'm going to forget it. No, Clemson's here, so they
Yep.
got a direct flight. If you're bringing people in from Clemson, from Alabama, or from Texas, those are the three that are coming in. As a Tiger fan, if you're traveling to Tennessee or to Kentucky, those are the flights that are built to go out there to the away games. You fly out on a Friday, you come home on a Sunday evening, you take in all the festivities in the meanwhile, and once you land back home, you're right in your own backyard. We have a fantastic airport right in our own backyard. The TSA experience is like nothing else in the world, at least nothing else I've experienced. The parking is so much easier, or do like I do and just skip the parking and Uber to the airport. Can't do that when you're driving an hour down I-10. Learn more at flybtr.com. Rowdy's calling in. 7:15 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. It's time to start talking about the nominations for the 2026 LABI Louisiana Business Excellence Awards. We'll go on to the hotline right now. If I'm not mistaken, we got Rowdy Goday on with us to talk about this from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Rowdy, how are you, man?
I am doing great, Brian. How are you this morning?
I'm doing very well as well. So I guess I got to start with the most basic question. What are the Louisiana Business Excellence Awards?
Well, we at LABI, we are the state's chamber of commerce. And so in addition to the work that our CEO, Will, talks to you about throughout the legislative session, and now that session is done, Will's been getting around the state talking to various groups about what was accomplished during session, some missed opportunities, and what we want to focus on for the rest of the year. One of the things as the state's chamber we like to do is take advantage of the opportunity to recognize the businesses, the business leaders, entrepreneurs, and manufacturers in our state who've leaned in, who are making a difference in this state, who are really contributing to bettering not only their businesses, not only increasing the workforce in the state, but bettering their communities and bettering the business climate in our state. So each year we open up nominations for our Louisiana Business Excellence Awards, and that's what we've done literally this morning. Now on our website at labi.org, the first thing you'll see when you go to our site is here's a description of the Business Excellence Awards. We've got about 10 different types of awards. You can read the descriptions of those, and I'll highlight a couple of them for you momentarily. But you can click there and submit a nomination, and that's really the main message of today is, look, there are business leaders, there's entrepreneurs, there's companies, there's economic development partners in this state who, we work with many of them. We know a lot of the work that's going on from our work at LABI, but sometimes there's folks who are doing it quietly, who aren't the loudest voice in the room, but are really making a difference in their community. And we are, asking for the folks out there across the state to submit nominations so we can get to know some of the work that's being done that makes a real difference, that advocates for businesses, that, makes a difference in the hiring practices in communities. So we're looking for folks to submit nominations for these Business Excellence Awards. And then in November of this year, we'll hold a luncheon ceremony over at the Renaissance here in Baton Rouge. And we'll recognize those businesses, and it's a great time. It's a great opportunity to honor some of these business leaders and businesses in the state.
Talk with Rowdy Goday from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry about their Business Excellence Awards. Nominations opened up as of this morning, so I'm looking at the nomination page, or the different categories and whatnot. Do you care if we run through them to talk about what each one actually stands for?
No, please. Yeah, I'll hit on a couple.
Start right at the top with the Ed Steinmel Achievement Award.
Yeah, so, we start with the biggie. So, look, the Ed Steinmel Achievement Award, for those who don't know, Ed Steinmel, just a real titan in Louisiana business community. He was involved for many years with the Public Affairs Research Council early on. He and some others 50 years ago were responsible for starting LABI, the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. They brought those organizations together to a single unit to what we know today as LABI. And so we named our Lifetime Achievement Award after Mr. Ed Steinmel. And so that award honors a long-standing LABI member who's given a lot of service, committed just extraordinary time and effort to improve the business climate, the quality of life in Louisiana. So for that, the Ed Steinmel is honestly, it's a Lifetime Achievement Award for a business leader in our state. And so we get nominations every year from folks who have made a real difference. Last year we had Hank Danos from Danos down the bayou in Houma, a company that's down there. We've had some real impactful business leaders. Then we move down to, we've got Business Person of the Year, we've got Business Person, and we've got Young Business Person of the Year.
Yes.
And so we want, you've shown commitment and contributions to your local community through your business. And so we're looking for nominations there as well. We call those our Free Enterprise Champions. And then we move to companies. We want companies that can be recognized. We've got 2 categories there for companies of the year that have more than 100 employees. And then, LABI is made up about 70% small businesses.
Right.
A lot of people think we are, just the larger companies across the state. We're not. The vast majority of membership at LABI, the companies that make up our membership, are small businesses. And so we want to honor the achievements of those Louisiana companies, like I said, who are working in their communities and working to advance the cause of business and free enterprise in the state. So we recognize those companies of the year who are making a difference in their community.
Okay.
And then, Brian, as you know, one of our partners that we work with across the state, every parish has an economic development partner, a chamber, a regional chamber, and, we work in close partnership with them. But we want some nominations for who are those economic development partners across the state. They've shown leadership and economic development within their communities. So we've got these descriptions up at the website.
Yep.
Again, I'm encouraging folks, don't think, somebody else will nominate that. I know what this business is doing in my community. I know their hiring practices are great for our community, but somebody else, I'm sure, will go do it. Look, take advantage of this. Go to labi.org, submit the nomination. We're hopeful to, as every year, we like to get a lot of different options to choose from, and then recognize those folks who are making a difference.
If we could, because there's 3 more awards that are out there. One of them's for Executive of the Year. That one's pretty self-explanatory. You got Manufacturer of the Year as well. But Workforce Innovators of the Year, I wanted you to touch on that one a little bit, because we're at a time and place right now, Rowdy, where we are looking for innovation, specifically in energy fields, manufacturing fields, a lot of the things that have kind of been the bread and butter of Louisiana business for, the past few generations now. Innovation is turning the page for Louisiana's next chapter. So talk to me a little bit about the Workforce Innovators of the Year.
Yeah, and that the workforce topic, again, as Will is going and talking around the state about what was accomplished during session. And I know you, Brian, you've hosted a number of folks on your show who've kind of talked about what was the theme of the session, some of the main drivers, and that workforce and closing the workforce gap in Louisiana because of this moment we're in where we're seeing a lot of economic development, and we want to close the workforce gap to meet those needs. That word is on the tip of everybody's tongue. And so for us, that workforce innovator that you're asking about, that one this year is going to be, I think, one of the toughest categories, just because, I think we've got a lot of folks focused on it. How do we, support and implement this, whether it's high caliber education, whether it's putting in new workforce development initiatives, which are happening at some of our state agencies, we're happening at some of our community colleges. We're seeing companies who are saying, well, look, I want to invest in some of this because I need some of these folks coming out to meet the needs for what we're seeing as a business. We want to honor who are those folks who just provided those substantial innovations and those contributions to workforce development in Louisiana. Let me just say, you touched very quickly on the Executive of the Year. That's a new one for this year, so we haven't done that in previous years.
Okay.
So for that one, we're looking for that CEO or that executive who, just not only had the vision to grow a company, but they genuinely moved the needle for Louisiana's business climate and the business climate in their community. So this is a new one this year, Executive of the Year award. We didn't have this category before, and we recognize that, that Executive Year fills a real gap. There's leaders out there who deserve a little bit of spotlight. Again, not all of them are going to be the loudest voice in the room. So we're looking folks to say, hey, I know somebody, and I think they're making a real difference. Want to submit their name. I
got about 3 or 4 names on that innovators that I think.
Love it.
So when you talk about innovator, there's an S in parentheses right there. That award can go to more than one person?
Oh, most definitely. It can be an individual or it can be an organization. And so, in the past, we've had some companies like Performance Contractors, which again they implemented their own workforce training programs within their organization. They've invested in workforce training through community college and through other efforts. And so we recognize just this past year, performance contractors as an organization
Right.
for the efforts that they're putting forth.
Okay. Yeah, I think some of my ideas might be a little bit outside the box, but I definitely see where that one's going.
Okay.
For sure.
We'll take it. We'll take outside the box.
But the thing is, like, if you're making nominations, there's a possibility that, like, the same person, you could nominate them for more than one category. What you're thinking of, just talking to the listener here, is what you're thinking they apply to might apply to more than one. So if you're nominating them, go ahead and nominate them for more than one. Because, like, let's say somebody makes an investment into a city in Louisiana, revamps a whole bunch of buildings and hires a whole bunch of people. That could fall under any one of 3 different categories if you wanted to.
That's right. And we do a very thorough vetting process. We pull from members of LABI's board to put together a committee to evaluate all these nominations. And it's a great year. Last year was a great year because we had a number of business people and businesses to evaluate within each of the categories. So, yeah, what you said is exactly true. I encourage folks, look, if you read some of the descriptions, you think they could fit here, they could be a company of the year, they could be a workforce innovator of the year.
Right.
Throw them into both because we want to know about them. And again, sometimes, like I said, these are companies or these are organizations who LABI may not have our finger on the pulse of exactly what they've done within their community or within their region. And if we learn about it, we're going to go find out about it, and we want to honor what they've done.
Couple little housekeeping notes as nominations are open at labi.org, which, by the way, we'll go ahead and put the direct link in when we post this interview on demand at talk1073.com. A couple of housekeeping notes before that, though. Number one, do you have to be a LABI member to be a nominee?
So for all of the awards except Ed Steinmel, you do not have to be a member of LABI. Now, Brian, I'm going to take this opportunity to say we would love for any company that's out there who's not a member of LABI, look, give us a call and find out about, how your voice can be added to the conversation, how you can make a difference in bringing more business and more pro-business policy to the state. But no, the answer to your question is no, except for the Ed Steinmel Award, which, again, is a Lifetime Achievement Award for someone who's been a long-time LABI member and dedicated time towards our policy advocacy efforts. You do not have to be a LABI member or a LABI member company to be recognized for one of these awards. Now,
the follow-up question is slightly different but slightly similar. Do you have to be a LABI member to make the nomination?
Oh, no, absolutely not. Look, I'm talking to you because I know there's listeners out there, like I said, who are aware of differences that are being made within their community, whether it's individuals or organizations. Mm-hmm. And we want to encourage as many as possible. Like I said, as much as we at LABI make an effort to be in touch with communities across the state, with our economic development partners across the state, the business leaders across the state who are telling us the reality on the ground of what they're seeing, what they're experiencing. We certainly pride ourselves on being in touch as a statewide organization. But like I said, sometimes there's quiet voices who we just haven't come to our attention. Right. And we certainly want to be made aware of those. If they're making a difference in the community, we want to know about it. And like I said, we want to call some attention to it.
Well, and if you believe your business is worthy of LABI's recognition, then you believe LABI is worthy of your time. So go ahead and join if you haven't joined. I mean, that's those two things are combined together, man.
And I get it. A lot of people are humble. A lot of people don't want to, say, well, here's some things that I did or that my organization did. But we've had that in the past. We've had some chambers who said, look, we're not trying to shout this from the mountaintops, but, we want y'all to know there's some efforts we made in the past year, and it really brought some economic development to our parish and to our region. And rightfully so, they should do that. And we've had a chance to recognize them. We had West Baton Rouge just last year when Anna Johnson was in that role where that came to our attention, and they were really doing some things. And so anyway, so we've had some folks come to our attention that we felt like, they're not the ones who are going to come and shout from the rooftops, but let's honor them.
So whether you're talking advocacy, whether you're talking application, whether you're talking hiring, it's all combined in there. Just find your right category. I will begrudgingly say once again, there is no media partner award. We'll deal with that later.
Well, let's see. Yeah, let me fit you into. Let's see. You are the. You could be the executive of the Free Enterprise Champion. I'm going to go there for you. So we'll fit you in somewhere.
Well, look, just comp my lunch and we'll call it even. We got Rowdy Gode from LABI. It's open right now, y'all. It'll be open, I believe, through August, and then the awards
August 14th.
August
That's
14th, and then the awards actually coming up in November. The Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, great partners here at Talk 107.3 FM, and you can learn more about them at labi.org. Rowdy, always appreciate the time, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Thanks for what you do, man. Talk
Always.
to you soon.
Yeah, thanks. Had to give him a little bit. By the way, am I out? We're out? Man, I thought. Okay. Well, I was staring at synchronizing that whole time. It didn't update for me. I thought I had a full minute to go. No, I thought I had a full minute to go. Y'all gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm nominating 50 Cent for Executive of the Year. Dude bought half a downtown Shreveport to turn it into new jobs.
Tony Spell. Michelle Parnelli. Ellerin always plays with the staff. We have a button down there. You'll never have to use that button. Unless something is. Yes. So after we get out of ABC, I just pop it down. Adonica's calling, I'm assuming.
Yeah, let me make sure she has the regular number as well. It's
And always put in the pencil. So you go amplitude and compression, which Brian told me this, by the way, because I was using something else. Multi-beam compressor. It's already set to broadcast. Apply. You just wait till the level
No, I don't. Guarantee gets paid.
Supposedly you do. Like, eventually, like, you won't get paid because yours, like, compared to, like, AFR is just killing it. And so Matt Muskin, I think he's, like, monetized 1900 per month. So after Spreaker gets their cut, that's what Jimmy told me. After Spreaker gets their cut, Guarantee gets their cut, Matt will get a small percentage of monetization. It ain't much, though. That's what Jimmy told me. Because that's why he's pushing me to upload my real calls. Because he's like, eventually do get paid. I'm like, okay.
I did not know that.
I learned that yesterday. You're getting up there, though. Like, I forget, we looked at your number yesterday. I think it was like $400 for the month. And so, like, you have to meet a certain threshold for you to ever get a cut. You have to be like AFR's level. You know what I mean?
Do you get anything for being the legwork on it? For my stuff? I'm gonna talk to Michelle about that. Because,
To where, like,
I'm the talent. I should get some, but like you're doing the legwork, you should get a piece. You should get a taste. I don't know what that breakdown would look like.
I was thinking about that with me uploading the ads on for the proof of performance.
Yeah.
Like, if I can get a cut of, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
because that's
We'll
a
see.
big conversation for ESPN, too.
Yeah.
Because they have to do proof of performance, too. Yeah.
180pros, 180pros.com, 180pros.com is the website if you want to check them out. They sponsor the studio, and they're here for you as well as an IT partner, not just an IT provider. Look, you want to keep your business technology secure. You want to keep it stress-free. They can do these things if you call them at 225-330-2200, 225-330-2200. We've seen a number of cybersecurity stories popping up in the news recently. Heck, some of them locally. And, well, when that happens, what's the response? What's the response look like? What's the reputation of the people responding? Do you really trust your IT provider? Because if you had an IT partner, you know that relationship would be really deep ingrained, and they base their success off of your success. That's what they do at 180 Pros. Plus, they're here locally. So, God forbid, something go wrong and the whole network shuts down. If you're a small business, you're not earning if your network's down. And if it's completely down to where someone can't dial in, you need somebody in town to get you back up and running. And I don't think you want your livelihood in the hands of I-10 traffic. Visit 180pros.com. All right, every so often we get the chance to catch up with the Baton Rouge Alliance for Students, and that would mean that Adonica Duggan is on the hotline for us right now. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. It's summer, but we're still thinking about schools over here.
Well, but to me, and maybe this is because we've done this for a little while now, to me, summertime means changemakers time.
It does. It means applications open. We just wrapped our last session last month with our cohort 8. We had a visit with Dr. Brumley, and so he talked about the statewide policy perspective. Mm-hmm. And now we're opening applications right now, and we'll be taking applications for cohort 9 through the month of July.
What is Changemakers? Who's this for?
Changemakers is for anyone who wants to be more informed about what's happening with public education in Baton Rouge and around the state. It's a 10-month leadership program that is not just focused on people who actually work every day in education, but people who have maybe not been in a school in a minute and really want to know what's happening with public education in our city and want to really understand their role and how we make education better for every student.
The problem with that, Adonica, is that once you get into it with Changemakers and you really learn a lot of the nitty-gritty, you have to just stop sitting on the sidelines and complaining. Once you're dialed in and you can see what's going on, oftentimes there's a lot of motivation to do more because so much good work is being done. You know, good work begets more work, right?
That's right. Don't tell the secret. Changemakers
Right.
is how we get you in, right? And so then we're going to find you something to do with it. But we really want people to understand what's happening with public education and really understand that every one of us, regardless of what your profession is, regardless of whether or not you have kids in public schools, regardless of whether your kids are past that age, we all have a role in making strong public schools for our city. And that is critical in the economic development that we want to see in Baton Rouge.
Economic development's a nice little phrase to add in there because, if I'm not mistaken, Changemakers is modeled after a more like Chamber of Commerce type of setup.
Yeah, I mean, it is much like leadership programs that you see around the country. We have a great one here in Baton Rouge, a Leadership Baton Rouge. There's a Leadership Louisiana, great programs that really expose you to what's happening across the city. Mm-hmm. This one is a little bit different because it takes the issue of education and it goes deeper across 10 months. And so in addition to maybe what you got during a Leadership Baton Rouge experience or some other type of experience, Changemaker says, okay, that sparked an interest in you about what's happening in education. Let's go deeper. Let's go see some schools. Let's go on some tours. Let's meet with some policymakers. Let's go on a city visit to another city. Let's really understand what's happening in education in a deeper way.
All right, what hit you the hardest through Changemakers? Was it the school tours, or was it going somewhere else and seeing how others do it in other places?
It's interesting to me to see how different cohorts react to different experiences. For so many people, the good thing about education is we all have our own experience. The bad thing about education is we all have our own experience. And so you only have one educational experience as your reference point. When we go on these school tours, we go on North Baton Rouge school tours, and we see different types of schools in North Baton Rouge. We see a traditional district school, we see a public charter school, and we see a non-public school. Same thing in South Baton Rouge. And for so many people, they haven't been in different types of schools. They haven't seen an experience that's different than their own. And so that helps them to build a more complex understanding of what's happening and how the challenges are different in different parts of the city and the solutions are maybe different in different parts of the city.
We're talking with Adonica Duggan about the Baton Rouge Alliance for Students. We're talking about Changemakers as the next cohort. It's sign-up time. What's the commitment? What's the time and schedule wise? What's the commitment look like, and what's the schedule how's the schedule breakdown?
Yeah, we meet one day a month for 10 months, and then we go on a city visit to another city for about 3 days in the spring. But we just ask that people commit to giving us that 1 day a month. It is no cost to participants. It is a highly competitive program to get in, and so we want to make sure that if you sign up, you are committed to being a part of every day, because you can't really take this experience without going through every part of it. And so we ask that folks commit to that, but there's no cost for the participants. We want to make sure that everybody has access to the program.
Very cool stuff. Talk about the out-of-town trip a little bit, because I think that plays a big role in this. Not just from a making the commitment side, but from the piquing interest side as well.
Yeah, I think that sometimes we think that all of our problems are unique to Baton Rouge, and we don't realize that there are other cities around the country who have faced some of the same challenges and maybe have a solution set to offer us. And so I think that what we do, we've been to Denver, we've been to San Antonio, we've been to Fort Worth, we've been to Indianapolis, we've been to Atlanta. We go to a city that is doing something well. It may not be that they're doing everything well, but it is something that they are doing particularly well. So in Atlanta, we went to see a parent organization. In San Antonio, we were visiting with some moms who have a really unique program where they help other moms and other families navigate how to choose a quality school. In Fort Worth, they have some really interesting data programs that they're running. And so we go to see the policymakers in another city. We go on school tours, and we really think about how we can apply those solutions to what's happening in Baton Rouge. Sometimes it's a good fit, and sometimes it isn't, but we need to have more information at our disposal, and we need to see more things so that we know what can work from Baton Rouge.
We've got Adonica Duggan on with us from the Baton Rouge Alliance for Students. There's a couple of other things we want to hit on before we get you out of here, but let's stick with Changemakers for just another quick second. The way the calendar's built out, now I think we may have talked about this last year, but the second to last meeting is the school board roundtable, and then there's the closing meeting after that. Yeah. Is that set up by design to make sure that ideas are as open-ended as possible before refining things with the actual board?
We want you to have some really good questions to ask by the time you sit down with the policymakers so that you can hold them accountable. And so I think that by the time they get to that second to last session, our changemakers have a lot of questions and they have a lot of ideas formulating about what solutions might look like. And so one of the things that surfaced this year was a conversation about differentiated pay. They had seen some things in Fort Worth, and they really wanted to talk about why we don't pay teachers differently to go to different types of schools in Baton Rouge, and pay them more to serve in some of our highest highest need staffing schools. And so I think that those types of questions only surface when you have a lot more information. And so we intentionally place the conversations with the school board at the end of the session.
Adonica Duggan's with us. She's with the Baton Rouge Alliance for Students as we're kind of going over some of the ins and outs of Changemakers. How many folks are we looking for? You said it was highly competitive. How many folks are we looking for here?
We generally have a cohort of around 25. We think a lot about the composition of the cohort and making sure that it's representative of the entire city and making sure that every corner of our parish is represented, that we have parents, that we have people from different sectors. So sometimes we'll go a little over, but we try not to go over 28 or so because it's really difficult to do that trip with more than 28 people.
Fair enough. And just to kind of give the scale for folks that are out there that might be, I don't want to say procrastinating on putting in an application, but how many applications do y'all get to just, get it in now?
Get it in early. We are averaging probably 150 to 200 applications for 25 spots every year. And that's a great problem to have.
That's huge.
We also think a lot about the fact that just because your application wasn't right last year doesn't mean that it's not right for the composition of the cohort this year. And so we encourage people to apply. Just because you've applied before doesn't mean that you shouldn't apply for this cohort. It is competitive. We do think we're very excited about the interest in offering us a day a month to learn more about schools in our city. And so we continue to think about ways to expand that opportunity to more people and have it available for more folks who are interested.
And for those that have been through it before, give us some examples of what the post Changemakers looks like. Where do they go from there? Is this advocacy? Is this legislative? Or is it just taking it back into the business community? Where do the post Changemakers, we'll call them grads, where do they apply what they learn?
All of the above. So our alumni board is very active. We offer activities for them to continue to stay engaged. It is not a one-shot thing. And so we have people who have run for office. We have Changemakers who are elected in the elected leadership right now. We have people who just take their school board member to coffee and, keep up with them. They send thank you notes when people will do hard things. They encourage, they write letters to the editor. We have people who serve on charter school boards. We have people who serve on the foundation board for Foundation for EBR Schools, who volunteer in public schools. We do back to school shopping for our kids, just a little bit of everything. But we really want people to plug in and find the way that fits their life and that they want to continue their service once they've done their Changemakers time.
We got a minute and a half left with Adonica Duggan from the Baton Rouge Alliance for Students. I want to use that last minute and a half to talk about the Youth Voice Survey because that's open now as well.
Yes, we are really excited to continue to hear from young people. This is something that we do every year. We survey around 500 middle and high school students to really help shape our policy perspective and help policymakers to understand what young people in classrooms are saying about their experience and how we can improve their experience. So that survey is at batonrougestudents.org, and we will close that survey on July 15th.
So got a good couple weeks to get that in, but I wouldn't procrastinate on that one either. Because student feedback, how is it used, and tell us why it's important?
It's really important for us to understand what the experience of young people looks like. One of the things that they continue to surface is needing additional mental health support. And so as we start to make decisions, I think that sometimes we have our own opinions about what students want or what they need from us. And it's also really great for us to check that with the experience that they're having in the classroom on a day-to-day. Young people will tell you a lot about what they need from you if you will just listen.
She is Adonica Duggan with the Baton Rouge Alliance for Students. Greatly appreciate a little time this morning.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful day.
You do the same. We got Your Money Now coming up in just, exactly 1 minute, which allows me to tell you about the folks over at NeuroJust, specializing in TMS therapy. That stands for transcranial magnetic stimulation, non-invasive, FDA approved, and they've got receipts, y'all. 85% of patients are showing results. If you're battling with depression and you've walked down the prescription drug path, if you're battling with depression and you've walked through the sit down, talk it out therapy path, if you have been quote unquote treatment resistant, it might be time to pick a new strategy. It might be time to visit neurojust.com, NEUROJUST, neurojust.com. You know how the anxiety and depression can go. It's the constant fight or flight and the exhaustion that comes from it, and the loneliness and the isolation and the brain fog that goes along with it. When it all builds up and it feels like it's too much and you've tried the other methods, give Neurojust a look at neurojust.com. Oh, shit. Man, I'm way behind on my live reads. I need to know that going in on a Wednesday that I'm gonna, like, when I have Franz on. Most of the time, I don't want. Well, because number one, I want to maximize my time with him, and number two, half the shit that we say, I don't want a company's name associated with.
That's what I was about to say.
So.
You don't want to talk about Edson, and then Franz comes in, he beat that ass.
Right.
It'll record and wave. You got to save it to an MP3. Just use a less space. You can upload a wave. And espresso. Your levels need to be within 0.6.
Oh, shit. I'm going to have to put my head down after the show because I got way too much. I got to do my Rotary New News, and I'm introducing the speaker today, and I haven't written my introduction yet. And I'm speaking at another event tomorrow for lunch, and I haven't even started. I don't even know what I'm talking about yet. I don't even know what my topic is.
Full blown, like you're the host, like you have a speaking. Yes.
Now, fortunately for me, it's a group of like old codgers who, no matter what I'm talking about, they're going to be more expert than I am on anything that I cover, or at least they'll believe they are. So, well, no, they want juice, they want dirt. So, I'm.
How about Tony Spell? Tony.
We might. Just 25-minute talk over lunch for a group called the Baton Rouge Roundtable.
I just joined BNI, so I go to that every week. But luckily, I don't think we speak. Well, we do, but we'll go like. Yeah, for guarantee. Mainly to leverage to get me more endorsements, but to represent guarantee as a whole. Because if they don't want to endorse with me, well, here's what else we would do. And I'm not a salesperson, right? I just joined from my own networking.
We're all salespeople.
Yeah, I mean, technically,
Sales is relationship building. So whether you're building it for content or you're building it for revenue, that's just part of the mantra around here.
What's the BNI
Sorry, it took a little long getting back in there. I was checking out, I was waiting for the new deal to drop over at the Mathern's app. I looked at it first thing this morning, as I do. Wednesdays are when the new deals drop. Got to tell you about Mathern's and the Mathern's Rewards app. If you're on the app, you get access to all the new coupons, like first thing on a Wednesday morning. And now, look, when I tell you about the deals that are out there, one at a time, it's probably not going to sound like a whole lot. But when you push through your whole groceries order, it starts to stack up. For example, the newest one to drop this morning, 50 cents off a bag of Craven potato chips. When you add that to 25 cents off brownie mix, 50 cents off bomb pops, 50 cents off the big bag of cheese, 50 cents off of cream cheese, and it just stack it up, $1 here, 50 cents there, and you're earning cash back towards more groceries every time you shop, you start to get some pretty decent deals over there at Mathern's, and it's so user-friendly. Clip your deals on the app. Let them scan the barcode when you're checking out. It does all the mathing for you. And whichever Mathern's you shop at, you can use the app there. Downtown on 3rd Street, Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center directly across from Tiger Stadium, or the OG location, Mathern's at Kenilworth, Highland Road, just west of Kenilworth Parkway, is where you're going to find Mathern's. I use the actually got to use the app at the downtown location last Saturday. I happened to be in downtown, and I was stopping off before going back home. I was like, hey, just scan it here. Look, LSU's my home base for Mathern's, because I stop there every time I'm working at LSU. And, you know, grab a lunch, grab a sandwich, grab some of the wing bar on a Friday. It's good stuff. Download the app today. It's Mathern's. All right, we've got hour 3 coming up in just a little bit. I have time to squeeze this one in before we get there, though. You heard our news partners of the Louisiana Radio Network talk about this a little bit. Republican senators and President Trump are going to meet behind closed doors today to discuss the Iran peace deal and the Save America Act. Now, the election security bill, the Save America Act, would require proof of U.S. citizenship to register to vote in federal elections. The president wants Congress to approve this legislation, but Senator Bill Cassidy says the votes aren't there yet in the Senate. Cut 10, please.
The Save America Act is important. Right now, there aren't the votes. I don't think there's going to be the votes. And so, therefore, let's talk about the things that we actually can change. For example, how do we make life more affordable for Americans?
That would be nice to make life more affordable for Americans. But let's not forget, Senator Cassidy is one of the ones pushing the Save America Act. And Senator Cassidy, look, I know where he's at right now as a lame duck. He's not going to be back. It's down to John Fleming and Julia Letlow in the runoff on the Republican side, and then we'll get to the general in November. But he's a co-sponsor of that bill. So you know there's a little disappointment on his end that a bill that he has attached his name to is struggling right now. Now, the senator also says he's interested in hearing what President Trump has to say about Iran. Louisiana's outgoing senator has criticized the peace deal, calling it a foreign policy blunder. Cut 11.
Unfortunately, our allies are weaker, our enemy is stronger, and we're not sure we see an end in sight of the Iranians being able to hold the world economy at a choke point called the Strait of Hormuz.
Don't know how to get past that, though. It's difficult to get past it. And is there room to say just we need a team player for a little while, just a little while longer? The senator was one of 4 GOP senators. Senator Cassidy was one of 4 who voted for the War Powers resolution, calling on the Trump administration to withdraw troops. I just don't know if you could do that right now. Cassidy said he supported the initial plan, but objectives weren't met right out the blocks.
Among those objectives were ending Iran's nuclear capability, keeping them from having ballistic missiles, and degrading their conventional warfare capability. Unfortunately, none of those objectives have been achieved. Yet
needs to be added to that. And I know we were all promised a timeline that was ridiculous, and we all bought in on a timeline that was ridiculous. What's the right answer to say, okay, it's time to pull up camp? Nothing you can do about that. It's hard times. That's on me.
No, I know. So used to, we would have to hit the legal. I think Kate put it in there that it fires off on its own.
Because he hates me.
And so it was stuck over Brian. That like Kate just fits that. No, it just ran.
It's hard timed.
But I think Kate just quit like as of a week ago because I used to have to fire it all myself.
Is it that? I know it's FCC when they give the ID on the hour, but like, I remember when we were on KLSU, like, we would finish whatever song was playing and then do it.
So here's the thing.
You want to do it
But you don't have any hard breaks at KLSU. So the FCC requires that within the first 10 minutes of the hour, you have to ID yourself, which means 55 past to 05 past. You have a 10-minute window to get that ID in wherever you can. However, we have hard breaks here because of things we have to meet contractually, like ABC News at 00:00. So we won't have another opportunity to hit that ID until we're into our next break. So it's just easiest to build that ID in the 10 seconds leading up to news so that we walk it up to the ID, and so we just get out at 59:50. Right. So what you'll notice differently, though, is if you're ever working a live sporting event, which most sporting events are automated by this point, but if you're ever working a live sporting event, that doesn't always work with the top of the hour matching with the action on the field or the action on the court. So if you're listening to LSU Sports Radio, like Chris Blair will pause for station identification when there's a break in the action. And that might be 2 minutes past the hour, or it might be 2 minutes before the hour. So it's within the window, but it's not dead set on. We have it built up to be dead set on so we can stay contractually where we need to be with all of our different partners.
How are most live sports automated if they're running live? I'm confused what you mean by that.
There are, what are they called, GPIs? They used to call them tones. There's things built into the audio that when they fire off from the network, like when they fire off from LSU's studio, it automatically triggers all the computers up the line, all the systems up the line to say, it fired off an ID over there, here's the matching ID over here that's going to play automatically. When we fire off a local break over there, here's the matching local break over here that fires off automatically. So that's how they automate them. And that's LSU and the Saints. And the Pelicans, for that matter. So basically everything we do except for the Rougarou and Catholic High football is automated.
Explain to him, because I was trying to explain him.
Like, so it's still coming in live from them. It's just like, as far as we're concerned over here,
You don't have to have a person manning the board. It does it automatically.
Okay.
Yeah. No, so I work for LSU Sports Properties as a side hustle. So I produce the football games and a handful of basketball, baseball, and whatnot. So I'm the one firing off those breaks from campus. But over on our end, they run automatically because it's built in to trigger it.
So explain to him, Brian, because I was trying to explain it the best I could with macros and all that, but I'm speaking from a program director standpoint, and I'm not the best at it. He was asking me this morning, Cade has built the clock to make this board hot when you come in the morning, but he wanted to know when he got here early, why were things firing off in the stack? And I said, well, Cade built it out that way, to where like we take ABC and then it just knows to take the spot. Can you explain that a little bit better than I can?
So whether you're talking about macros, GPIs, or tones, they're all different triggers. It's the same level of automation. When America in the Morning fires off a break and it has a local part to that break, it has something that they've built in on their end that tells our end it's time to go. Their computer tells our computer it's time to go. So we can run programming without having somebody here locally to hit play at any hour of the day. It's just built in.
And then, yeah, like what Brian said at 6:03, it just goes dead. So literally a producer, Brian, somebody would have to be here, or it would be dead air, if that makes sense. Like it's just a...
Oh yeah, at that point, the audio you're hearing is not running through the board. It's running through our audio server in the back. It never even comes to the studio. You're hearing the external signal through the studio, but there's nothing controlled within here at that point. It's straight through the audio server.
I know, it's really cool how automation works. You were in radio only with automation, right, Brian? Kind of like me. Like all I ever knew was automated radio. You never worked like back in the day where they had like music stations where they had like tapes, and you never had to do all that shit. Did you? Or yes, you did. No. Okay.
No.
So you've only ever known automate, kind of like me. I've only ever known.
Oh
like,
no! I did a
automation.
lot of live sporting events, but not because like I did a lot of Saints radio. I did a lot of NASCAR radio.
Damn, I didn't know that.
WJBO used to carry NASCAR.
That's awesome.
806, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along, hour 3, coming your way right now. Brian here with you, Breland producing. Our third hour will bring you, we're talking with State Rep Jessica Domangue in our next segment.
She's in Costa Rica, ain't she?
I think
Or
she's
somewhere.
Barbados.
Man.
But she wanted to call in to get in before the election. So
Good for
we
her.
got her calling in from vacation. And then I want to talk business. I want to talk about, we have DC Current presented by LABI in our 835 segment. That's Congresswoman Julia Letlow. As much as I want to talk business, there's no way we're not talking about the election because it's election week. Everyone who didn't go to the polls for early voting, and judging by the numbers, that's most of you, everyone who didn't go to the polls for early voting will go to the polls, hopefully, will go to the polls on Saturday. So it's going to be difficult because, look, a politician around this time, this close to election, is in full go mode, right? It's like, the equivalent in athletics of having your game face on and or being in the zone. So we'll talk a little bit. I mean, we had some flooding. We had a tropical storm roll through. We'll talk about it a little bit, but it'll be a lot of what's to come on Saturday. Right now, though, before we get to any of it, you know what we do. We do This Day in History.
All right, Brian.
Yes?
My notes start 1973. Do you have anything before that?
Oh, I do.
Oh, let's go.
How about 1374?
Cool.
Yeah.
You're going way back.
Well, you might have seen this on Snapchat.
Before Christ or after Christ?
No, after.
Okay.
1374, men, women, and children gathered in the streets of Aachen, Germany, and danced as if in a trance. They continued for hours, even days, moving until they collapsed from exhaustion. This was the earliest widely documented and worst major outbreak of choreomania, the dancing plague.
What?
The dancing plague started on this day in 1374.
Did it anywhere in that say they were doing drugs, cocaine? Was that even around back after Christ?
The
None of
dancing plague, a form of mass psychogenic illness. Other outbreaks occurred elsewhere in Europe in later decades and centuries, but no other major cases of choreomania have been reported since the mid-1600s outside of when Cupid's on stage.
Or when Michael Jackson moonwalked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is everybody. Everybody all
God.
at once. Choreomania. It's the dancing plague. It's all of the folks.
Oh, my. I'm taking that in right now. Holy cow. Okay. In 1973, a fire at the upstairs lounge in New Orleans killed 32 people and injured at least 15. Look,
Saw that.
I have researched this because I learned about it when I took a ghost tour in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And they actually brought us there.
Yep.
And I'm like, what is this place? Because now it's a bar. It's some new bar. Well, anyways, they will bring people upstairs where people normally aren't allowed unless you're doing the ghost tour.
Right.
And I went down a rabbit hole and researched this. Apparently, a man jumped out the window and his ghost still haunts whatever was the upstairs lounge to this day.
That's going to be a terrible way to haunt.
I know. He was on fire. He was trying to, right?
Just on repeat.
Right. Yeah. So that tragically happened back in 1973. In 1994, The Lion King went into wide release in the U.S. and Canada on June 24th, but it opened limited release early on June 15th. So this would say, back in 94, where we would say going viral and took over the world, Lion King?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. In 2016, this kind of is a post to what we talked about yesterday with the UK voting to leave the EU, while British Prime Minister on this day, David Cameron, resigns after the UK votes to leave the Union.
What year was this?
In 2016.
Yeah.
Now,
we were talking about the other day, we're 6 prime ministers in 10 years.
yes.
I think he was the first domino to fall.
Yep. In the year 2020, so you had New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. They announced a joint COVID-19 travel advisory requiring travelers from 9 hard-hit states to quarantine for 14 days. Hawaii already did this back in March, but I'm going to go ahead and say in June 2020, that's when you see all sorts of states saying, oh, you're coming to our state? You got quarantine.
Yes.
This is kind of when we're starting to see
I'm trying to remember
it.
back because we did vacation at that time. We took a vacation. We went to Hot Springs, Arkansas. We chose Arkansas because we figured they wouldn't have any COVID restrictions,
Right.
and we were right until we weren't. We were right all the way up until like while we were there. I'll remember this for the rest of my life. We're in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and I get a text from a friend who was in Colorado, and they're like, "We can't do anything here. Where are you?" I was like, "Hot Springs." He's like, "We'll be there in 24 hours." And sure enough, they were. And like a week after we all left, well, it was locked down there too. So, but yeah, it was. Your 2020 vacation, you were picking and choosing based off of what was closed.
Right, and hoping you don't have to quarantine.
Yeah.
All right, in 2021, you remember when this one hit the news? It was all over the news. The Chaplin Tower South condo building collapsed in Surfside, Florida, killing 98 people.
I don't.
I think, so I get that one confused with the one in Miami. But
Okay.
remember, I remember watching the video, the whole thing just collapsed like a domino, and it was tragic. Well,
Okay.
that happened in 2021. And in 2022, the U.S. Supreme Court issued its Dobbs decision, removing constitutional protections for abortion that had existed under Roe versus Wade.
Sending it back to the states. That decision did not make abortion illegal. That decision sent it back to the states. I got two quick ones before we hit birthdays.
Yep.
This day in 1980, the David Letterman show premiered.
Oh, wow.
Now, hang on. Not Late Night with David Letterman. This was when NBC gave that trial run to see if David Letterman would play in the daytime.
I didn't ever know he was in the daytime.
He was in the daytime for a hot minute, and then he moved to late night, and he nobody wanted that slot, blah blah blah. But he came on right. Oh, it was a wasteland at that time. Like back at that time, like if you were late night, it was like it went Carson, and then after that, just the viewership would drop off and whatnot.
Wow.
You were lucky if you had someone play the Star Spangled Banner before the station signed off. David Letterman extended the night by a full hour.
That's crazy.
When they moved him to late night. But yeah, he was a daytime TV host for a hot minute. Also, this day in 1997, the Roswell Report was released.
Oh, wow. All right, very quickly. Birthdays, Lionel Messi, 39 today. Mindy, I can never say her last name. Kaling, 47. From The Office, The Mindy Project, all the 9 yards. That's all I have that's notable.
I got one more. Take it back to 1895. It is Jack Dempsey's birthday.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And notable deaths, Jackie Gleason. Yep, National Day today. I have National Pralines Day.
Sure.
Wait, do I have that? Wait.
No, that's what you got.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was the only thing that was worth a day.
Yeah, it's it's National Praline Day is today.
Let's just go with it.
I got a bag full of pecans in the cabinet in the cupboard. I might want
some brown sugar.
I might want to make some pralines.
Yep.
That wouldn't be the worst idea. All right, that is this day in history. Hey, before we take our next break, I want to remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website. LandmarkBankLA.com, a community bank since 1897. That's like half of America's lifetime. They've been on the same mission, and that is serving local communities. So if you're in Baker, Zachary, if you're in Denham, if you're in Brewley, they're on the other side of the river as well. In fact, go to LandmarkBankLA.com, hit the little About Us drop-down tab, find the locations there. What you get when you have a community bank is you get a banker, someone that you see in line at the grocery store. You get someone that you know is in it with you, someone you could trust to help you on your journey, whether you're talking about borrowing, investing, whether you're talking about saving, whether you want to buy a home, whether you want to scale down that home and buy a retirement place, whatever it is, you've got someone who's in it with you to sit down and help you make your decisions and guide your path. Learn more at LandmarkBankLA.com. Oh. Agriculture, yeah. Monthly. He comes on the second Thursday of the month.
I think you could bill us with Dr. Mike Strain. I'll leave to the beach on that night, and I'll do Brian's show like I told you, and then I'm gonna roll. Yeah, the 16th. Yeah, you're gonna do the show because I'll be back that Friday. But I think that particular Friday that you're doing the board, Dr. Strain will be good, unless he moves his date. Oh, that's
Wait, you're going when?
July 9th through the 16th.
Okay, cool.
I am doing your show on that night.
Yeah, I'm doing it on the 10th.
Yeah.
13th,
I'm
14th.
rolling to the beach right after I get off the show.
What beach go to?
We go to Miramar every year because my husband runs his business. We use a credit card for the business, and we research all the credit cards with all the good points, and we chose Hilton Honors. Just because it works for us.
Love Hilton Honors.
Yeah, and so like we got points after that, so we got to use. So I say our hotel is free; it's not we pay for it, but we have the points to use the rooms. Hilton Sandestin, it's so cool because like everything's at the resort. The beach is there, 3 or 4 different restaurants, a hot tub. It's like a little resort.
Miramar is Sandestin.
Yeah, like Destin, Sandestin, Miramar. It's on that strip. I need coffee. I'm gonna go grab coffee. You need some water?
817. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. It's been a minute since we visited with Jessica Domangue. She's on the hotline with us now. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I am doing very well as well. Can you correct me if I'm wrong here, but are you on a beach right now?
Yeah, I'm on an island, actually. We're in Barbados. So live from Sandals, it's the Jessica Domangue Show. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you hopping on. We got a lot going on right now. I might wait till you're back in town to fully recap your legislative session because you did a lot. But
Yes,
maybe
absolutely.
we could touch on a little bit on the back end of our conversation today. But I want to get started by talking about like we're in an election week, and that means something different in different parts of the state, but all statewide. That means a Senate race. You got any thoughts on the Senate race?
Oh, I have a lot of thoughts on the Senate race. I've been pretty intimately involved in all things Louisiana politics, and it's been pretty personal for me. And you know this. It's I've gotten drug into the debate and the narrative, and so yes, I've got a lot of feelings and thoughts about this.
All right, then we're going to start to unpack this a little bit. When you talk about being drug into the debate, drug into the narrative, there's no reason to beat around the bush. You're talking about carbon capture.
We're talking about carbon capture. We're talking about the big bad word, eminent domain. We're talking about all those things, and that really seems to be the focal point of what this entire election has become about.
Which baffles me because this is an election for a federal office, and you are a state representative. It just I don't understand how this has gotten so misguided. The only thing the Senate's going to be able to do on this particular issue is determine whether or not there's going to be a future in the carbon capture tax credit. Has nothing to do with sequestration, has nothing to do with usage, has nothing to do with storage, has nothing to do with what's under Lake Maurepas or in the middle of the desert, has nothing to do with anything that goes on from a pipeline, burial, or domain standpoint.
Right, exactly. Look, but let's unpack this a little bit
Go
further,
for it.
Brian. And look, I'm a licensed clinical social worker, which means I am a licensed therapist. And so I really like to look at the psychology of politics. I like to look at where all this is coming from and where all this is stemming from. And if we look specifically at this campaign and at the Fleming campaign, and we unpack it and look at Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals, they are essentially following to the T the guidebook that has been used by Democrats like Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton for years to manipulate the public to think that we're evil and they're good. And that essentially is the entire core of what we're seeing here in Louisiana right now.
Well, for those that are unfamiliar, let's rewind the clock and talk a little bit about how you got wrapped up into this and to what extreme it went to, having nothing to do with the Senate race, but how you first got roped in on the whole thing.
Yes, absolutely. So, I sit on House Natural Resources, and I got on natural resources because I represent the entire coast of Terrebonne Parish. I have a lot of shrimpers and fishermen in my area. There's always been a member from my area that has sat on that committee, and so I got on the committee thinking, oh, I'm going to pass a bunch of shrimping legislation, which I've done. But we started this carbon sequestration and carbon capture debate, and so I started listening, and I listen to everything very intently, and so I go in and I listen to the debate. I read the bills, and the opposition was coming with a bunch of nonsense that didn't make a lot of sense. And so I started asking questions, and at that point, it became Jessica Domangue is bad. Jessica Domangue is evil. I mean, there was videos made about me. There was memes done about me. I mean, it was just the ugliest, dirtiest thing ever. But I was the scapegoat, I guess, for all in this personification for all of this, you know, essentially what turned out to be Save My Louisiana / LaCag / Fleming campaign, which I think they're all kind of wrapped up in one at this point. And so that's kind of where it became. And so, you know, I'm now the personification of, you know, the evil side of the Republican Party, which is not, I mean, it's just not fair at all. And that's kind of where the Senate races come to, is it's either, you know, Julia Letlow, who is evil, or John Fleming, who is righteous and good. And so that's really kind of where we're at right now.
You missed out on one part of that. You talked about being, you know, the subject of editorials and the subject of memes. You jumped right past the death threat.
Right, exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I forget to pluralize that?
No, right. Look, and it has been real death threats. I've got state police on speed dial. I call them quite often. And it's been to the fact that, you know, there's certain things that we don't talk about at home because I don't want my children to know about. And so, yes, there has been death threats involved in all this. And so, once again, it's just gotten to the point of who are we in Louisiana and what is it that we want to see happen? Because we're not talking about what you and I are passionate about, or what we're talking about at our kitchen table, right? We're not talking anymore about flood insurance. We're not talking anymore about coastal restoration. We're not talking anymore about the real needs of Louisiana citizens. We're talking about make-believe, things that just is not even happening, like, you know, land being stolen for industrial. It's just not happening. And so, once again, the psychology of this has just gotten completely out of bounds, and so it's just time to have some common sense and bring everything back.
So when you talk about the things that we aren't talking about at the kitchen table, I do talk about economic development. I do talk about the possibility of my neighbors getting jobs. You know, if I'm maybe not at my kitchen table because I've only got one kid that works, but when you talk about, you know, getting together with your neighbors, getting together at the community pool or at a barbecue or whatever, it's like, who's hiring? The only part of the carbon capture discussion I'm interested in is in the economic development part, and somehow that's gotten buried deeper than the CO2. That's gotten buried under all the other peripheral parts of the discussion that we haven't seen in real life.
Absolutely correct. And when I ran for office, the one thing that we were most concerned about was outward migration,
right,
and the economy in Louisiana. And we've got a governor who has fast-tracked our economy. We've got economic development happening all over the state. In my own parish, in my own backyard, we've got things happening. And people finally see that we can get out of this cycle of intergenerational poverty and actually have a future for Louisiana. But on the other hand, you have others who don't want anything to happen. And so, you know, of course, then, you know, Jeff Landry's bad, we're evil. But we just want a better future for Louisiana. And so it's once again got all tied up and warped into this really, really weird, bizarre, U.S. Senate race, which I know I've never seen anything like this before.
Well,
my
to be on
entire
such
life.
a tangential topic, on something that has nothing to do with the job description.
Correct. Nothing to do. I mean, this is something that has to do with the legislature. And once again, no one is going to D.C. and telling President Trump that he's getting rid of 45Q. It's just not happening. There are projections that about $800 billion the U.S. economy is tied to 45Q over the next 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So a freshman U.S. senator is not walking into D.C. and saying we're repealing 45Q. One, he's not going to have any friends. He's not going to have any colleagues that's going to back him up. And he's going to be on the other side of President Trump and President Trump's agenda. So, yeah, it's just not happening. We have to live in the real world, know exactly what we're dealing with. And it's just not – it's not realistic.
We got Jessica Domangue on with us, State Representative Domangue, who carving out a little bit of her vacation to hop on this morning. So, Representative Domangue, walk me through a little bit about how your involvement within the session has made its way over to this race, because, and I don't want this to be a bash for one candidate, because like you said, this should be a race about much larger issues. But how did you get slid from, one chessboard to another?
Yeah, and it really was. It was the Natural Resources Committee, and it was the entire carbon sequestration debate, and it was, I guess my last name Domangue sounds like eminent domain, and so it became kind of this meme that people put out, and so then of course I was tied in with the Julia Letlow campaign, which look, I know Julia, I know Dr. Fleming, I know all the people involved, and so to say that I'm aligned with one or the other, it's not really fair. But I think that they just pulled me into this race because they needed a bad guy, and so I became the bad guy as far as someone to beat up on, I guess, and so. I've been beat up pretty hard, pretty badly for the last couple of years, but it's okay because we're doing great things for Louisiana. Just someone has to be the punching bag, I guess, and that's kind of where I came, and then of course it all got tied up into the Senate race.
Well, and I'm still baffled about how this one little topic became the pivotal piece for everybody's, that starts everyone's day and ends everyone's day. It's not that big on the overall radar. It's one committee, a handful of bills in one committee.
It was a handful of bills in one committee, and if we talk more about the psychology of it, the threat is more terrifying than the thing itself, and so we're obviously saying that carbon sequestration is the big bad, the bad guy. And it's become more scary than it actually really is. And so it's been used as a weapon in this whole thing to once again say, we're evil, they're good, kind of thing. And so if it wasn't for this Senate race, I don't think anybody would even know what this is. I don't think anybody would even care about what this is. I'll tell you, the people in my area have no idea what any of this is. Right. What they care about, once again, is flood insurance, coastal restoration, economic development. They just want good roads. I mean, we just want good schools. We want low taxes. And you're not hearing any of that because of all this noise that's wrapped up with this carbon sequestration debate.
I'm going to let you get back to vacation. As soon as you're back in town, let's get you to hop back on again so we can unpack that full session and talk at get a little more in depth.
I would love to do that. I'd love to see you in studio as well.
Well, bring it. Enjoy Barbados. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Here's news. All right. So the moral of that story is I have to go back and reread rules for. Everybody skips a word in that title. It's rules for reasonable radicals. But it's, or is it just rules for radicals? I thought it was reasonable was the name of it. No, it's just rules for radicals. Okay.
Congresswoman has our request line, correct? Or does she have the hotline?
Yeah. Bless you.
Thank you. Stand up. Talk 107.3. Hey, Julia. Good morning. We are good. Are you home or are you in D.C.? Oh my gosh. The woman who moves in a million directions. I don't know how you do it, but you do it. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, look, we are about to get out of commercial, so probably 30 seconds, okay? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Eight 37, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We are going to head right back to the hotline, and yes, we talked pretty heavy about the election in the last segment, but let's talk to one of the candidates in that election. It's time for D.C. Current, presented by LABI. Congresswoman Letlow, how are you this morning?
I'm good, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing, you know what? I think I might be more ready for this election to get here than you are.
I think all of Louisiana is ready for it to be done.
No matter what, we just want this like in the past at this point. Let's talk a little bit about, before we get into the election itself and where you're at on the campaign trail and whatnot. Let's talk a little bit about the last couple of weeks here in Louisiana. We did have a tropical storm hit our state, and you are a congresswoman in the state. So could you touch on the flooding and how your office has been able to utilize some resources and some help?
Yeah, we were hit, unfortunately, hard by Tropical Storm Arthur, and communities like Avoyelles Parish, St. Landry Parish, they're still suffering from the effects. You know, I represent Avoyelles, and they saw over 2 feet, Brian, of rain in a very short time frame. And I just visited Mansura with Governor Landry last Friday. We saw the damage firsthand, and your heart breaks. You know, in addition to the property damage, many of our farmers' fields were flooded. Their crops were damaged. I immediately took action. I spoke with Secretary Markwayne Mullen in the car ride with the governor, and then I've also spoken with USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins to make sure that we have federal assistance ready to go once the damage is reported. So at this time, I would just love to encourage everybody who had property or crop damage to report it at damage.la.gov, and that doesn't guarantee that they'll qualify for repayment, but it helps us accumulate everything that we need in order to go fight for them to make that disaster request from the federal government. So I'm doing everything that I can to make sure that I'm here for my constituents. But again, my heart just breaks anytime anyone is suffering from a natural disaster.
Well, and it's such a weird split. So first of all, it was a weak storm, right?
Yeah.
And
right.
a weird split where you had 6 different parishes with an emergency declaration, and only 2 of those parishes touched. Like, I don't know that we've seen a storm where it wasn't some level of contiguousness. I mean, not completely, but like it was like you went to the northwest of Baton Rouge and then the southeast of Baton Rouge where you saw the different spots that got hit. And it just, I don't know that we've ever seen anything hit the way that this one did.
Yeah, it was different. These different pockets of rain that just did a downpour in different areas and really affected completely different areas of the state. You're absolutely right.
We got Congresswoman Julia Letlow on the hotline this morning. This is DC Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. You can learn more about your state's Chamber of Commerce by visiting labi.org. Okay, you have the backing of our president, Donald Trump. And if I understand correctly, there's some he just put out a new video, correct?
He did, yes. So excited whenever a new video drops from the president. He didn't have to do that, and I'm so grateful for his continued confidence in our campaign. And goodness, he made it clear again that he wants Louisiana Republicans to go out and vote. It's so important. You know, he believes I'm the candidate who will help advance the America First agenda, and he knows my record. I've stood with him. We have a working relationship. It's incredible to be able to pick up the phone and speak with the president when you want to fight on behalf of Louisiana. That's something that I don't take for granted, but will always utilize whenever it comes to fighting for the people who I represent. So again, yes, incredibly honored to have a new video to push out. Louisiana loves seeing him, so it was an honor to receive it.
You and I have talked about this before, and I know you're in the zone right now. You don't want, it's Saturday is election day, and I know you're in go mode right now, and I don't want to detract from that. But there's a personal level to this as well. I mean, this is the president of the United States. This is the endorsement of 1 of 47. Well, actually 1 of 46 because he did it twice in 2 different stints. But not just that, but a president with this level of personality and the way he grabs a room and everything on a personal level. I mean, campaign aside for 2 seconds, but on a personal level, has it sunk in?
I don't think it ever will, Brian. Whenever I get that call, I just pinch myself. I can't believe that this, girl from North Louisiana has this experience to build a relationship with a sitting president. I know my late husband Luke would never believe it, but it's just an incredible honor. And again, one I don't take for granted, and will continue to utilize for the betterment of Louisiana.
Of course, the president's going to be the biggest endorsement in the race, but he's not the only endorsement in the race. Clay Higgins just got on Team Letlow recently.
I am so honored to have Clay Higgins support. He's one of the most respected conservative voices in Louisiana. He's earned that respect by standing firmly on his principles. He never backs down from a fight, as you know. We've served together in Congress for some time now, and I'm just so incredibly grateful to have his endorsement. I've admired all he's done for agriculture, for our farmers, for energy workers. He's a man of great faith, and he means what he says, and I'm so incredibly grateful to have his endorsement.
So, and you and Congressman Higgins have a little something in common in that the path to Congress wasn't the same as, it wasn't the normal path to Congress. Like Clay Higgins went from being the St. Landry Parish Sheriff Crime Stoppers guy to Capitol Hill. So y'all have had that same, learn the job, on the job mentality since taking over.
Absolutely. It just goes to show you that this is the people's house, and you need people from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life to lend their expertise, and Clay's a perfect example of that.
We got Congresswoman Julia Letlow. Of course, this is D.C. Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. I feel weird throwing out another endorsement in the same conversation, but we are here in Baton Rouge, and Mayor President Sid Edwards has tossed his support behind you as well.
Oh, I'm so grateful to have the mayor. We were talking about Baton Rouge and how important it is, especially to my district, and I've just built the best working relationship with him, just making sure that we're bringing resources back to Baton Rouge. It's so important that we work on flood mitigation and all those great wins that we've had for law enforcement. So it's been an incredible honor. Everyone who knows Sid, Coach, as we call him.
I was about to correct you.
Yes, yeah. He's just so genuine and down to earth, and his heart is in the right place. He's not your typical politician, and I think that's why we just work so well together. And I thought his comments were just so heartfelt, and I'm really grateful to have his endorsement.
Talk with Congresswoman Julia Letlow, and I know we're supposed to be. It's DC Current presented by LABI, but the election's coming up Saturday, and it's just this is going to eat. I mean, it's going to eat up your week, obviously. As it's eaten up a good chunk of time. Talk to me a little bit about the campaign trail over the last few months and how things have, I'll leave it like this, how things have either evolved or devolved.
Well, we feel like we are in such a strong position, Brian. Everywhere I go, I'm seeing tremendous enthusiasm. You walk into these rooms with grassroots conservatives and local leaders. I mean, law enforcement's there, farmers, business owners, Republican voters. It truly is such a humbling but awesome experience to be a part of, to have the backing from so many people who I greatly admire and have learned so much from. It's really only grown stronger since the primary. We didn't take one day off. We knew that this was going to be a fight to the end, and had a lot more people to go listen to and hopefully earn their support for Saturday. So we've just been working the state, crisscrossing every single corner to make sure that we listen to as many people as possible, hear their concerns, and kind of share my platform. I think one thing that has been a little bit lacking amidst all the negativity is being able to really share, our hopes and dreams and what I would do for people in the Senate. And that's why we laid out the 15-point plan that you can find on my website, julialetlow.com. But I think there's a lot of lip service sometimes and not, hey, this is what I've actually done in Congress, and this is what I want to continue to do in the Senate.
The 15-point plan, I'm glad you brought it up because I actually had it open in front of me at the time. Nice. The 15-point plan includes a couple of things that we know you've worked on in the past, but it also includes a couple of things that you've been learning about on the job as well. And this is the deeper dive that I think a lot of people have been looking for here. Congresswoman Letlow, break it down for us if we could, and we're going to have some breaking news too, but
I know.
We got to save some time for breaking news, but break down for us some of your favorite parts of your 15-point plan.
Oh gosh, I'm so passionate. My number one industry in my district has been agriculture.
Yep.
And I've learned so much from the farmers and producers. We've had so many wins for them when it comes to disaster recovery, when it comes to droughts, making sure quality crop insurance, everything that they care about, we've been able to deliver on. Just passed the Farm Bill. We have to go past it in the Senate, Brian. It is so important. Agriculture is not just about putting food on the table. It's a matter of national security, and I will never turn my back on the farmers. But my goodness, I could keep going on and on about energy dominance and
Yep.
all the, all the things I want to tackle.
Well, because the energy dominance part of this one, that's the one that garnered my attention first. But I'm seeing a lot of what you would take from one industry you can apply to another. Everything you just said about ag can apply to seafood. That's
right.
And everything you say about that applies to energy dominance because it's about job creation and protecting what's ours.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one thing I know that you and I have talked a lot about that I have learned so much about being in South Louisiana is our need to really tackle flood insurance. And that's a whole nother conversation that we can get into on another date. But that's something that I really want to work hard on over in the Senate to try to find some solutions so that our kids don't have to leave. We're just pricing people out from being able to live in Louisiana. So I want to continue to work steadily on that in the Senate side.
All right, let's say I'm just sitting around waiting for a little bit more from President Trump on Julia Letlow. I've seen the videos. They're great and everything, but, man, is there any chance that we can hear from him directly between now and Election Day, hear from the top guy between now and then?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask, Brian. I'm so excited to announce that President Trump is hosting a tele-rally for our campaign this Thursday. That's June 25th at 5 p.m. Central Time. Gosh, I could not be more excited. He's been an adamant supporter of the campaign from day one, and to have him live on the phone encouraging people to come out, support the campaign, and vote is just an incredible honor. So I know you have the information, Brian. You'll probably put it on your website, but I hope Republicans across Louisiana will join the call, hear directly from President Trump, and then go make a plan to vote on Saturday, June 27th. But again, the call is Thursday, June 25th at 5 p.m. Central Time. And the dial-in number, do you want me to say it or you'll put it on the website?
If you've got it in front of you, please do.
Yeah. Okay, it's 855-962-1252.
855-962-1252. Tomorrow at 5 p.m., you'll hear from President Donald Trump talking about Congresswoman or senatorial candidate Julia Letlow. Thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning. Always appreciate it.
Always, Brian. Thank you so much.
Likewise. We'll put all that information up online when we post that on demand at talk1073.com. We've got one more break before we get out of here. We will come back and close it out next. That was cool.
Did you know that she was going to have Trump, or you were just asking? You kind of knew, huh?
Well, I didn't kind of know. They told me.
Oh, okay. Damn, I thought you were smart. Like, I thought you like just had a hunch or something. Okay.
No, the comms director texted me last night, said Trump is going to host a tele-rally for Julia this Thursday. We have not announced it yet. Thought your show would be a great place to do that.
Oh, go Brian.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have those two songs I sent you?
Yes, let me get them queued up. Hang on.
I hate this commercial so much. And yes, I want this music on.
Okay. But he's not an attorney, Brian. Oh my God. What the hell? He's so monotone. He's like, don't sue.
Okay, so the I Want to Rock is going to be the second one. And we'll do Scarred first.
Do you want me to cue it up to the chorus or just rock it from the beginning? This one needs to go from the beginning.
Yeah, that one goes from the beginning. The other one.
You want me to cue it up from the chorus? Wait, you don't write anything down after conversation?
Actually, you know what? Use that as the bumper coming in. Start from the beginning. You have no idea where this is going, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, I have it mapped out, so like we're gonna get this right. Yeah. Actually, let me come in cold with one bath and closets, so I can get that out of the way.
And then when I feel like you're stopping, just
Yeah.
start bumping it. Okay. So you missed it while you were gone. I was trying to cue him to go, and that's what I mean. I always watch for Brian's cues. I was like 10 seconds, and he goes, Brian went like this. He went no, and he went 5-1, which means we weren't going to take the editorial of your money round. We were just going to take the spot. And so I knew, okay, he's telling me 1 more minute. So just always watch his cues, if that makes sense. If you missed it while you were gone.
So here's the thing. Contractually, we have to carry 3 spots. The report itself is not even in the contract. I'm supposed to carry them. Well, hang on. Contractually, we're supposed to carry 2 spots per morning show. We air it 3 times. So it is a hard break until it's not. Meaning at 6:50, I need to meet it. And then at 7:50, I need to meet it. If I've met it the first 2 times, I actually have a little leeway there because I've fulfilled my contractual obligation. I like to carry it from a listener's perspective, listener expectation-wise. I like to carry it all 3 times. But there are times, and it happens a lot with DC Current where we're talking with our congresspeople, where they're going to get a little bit long-winded and they're going to go over. So what I'll do there is I'll try to regroup and get it out for 51. And if I had 51 on the nose, because their report is 60 seconds and their spot is 60 seconds. So if I had 51 on the nose, actually if I had 51 over by 2 seconds, because for some reason it runs long. But if I hit 51, then we can carry the spot. We've still done what we're supposed to do contractually. So we missed the report, but we get what we needed. Or we get what we promised we delivered.
So I did not post Julia's article. I'll let you post Julia's article on my desk, so you can kind of get the hang of it. You can post it here. When we get off the air, I'll let you post it here.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. 400-8005 is the phone number. Who needs to call One Bath and Closets on? Anybody who looks around their bathroom and says this could use an upgrade. Anybody who has a lack of organization or space in their closet would like to make it more efficient, more user-friendly. If you didn't build your house wasn't built for you. It was built for somebody else. Why not upgrade to the specs that you like? David Duvall and his team. If you want to visit OneBathAndClosets.com, spell out O-N-E, OneBathAndClosets.com. Scroll through some of the galleries, see the work that they've done. It is an absolute masterclass in how you can maximize your space. I've walked down this path myself, and I couldn't be happier with the results. You can, too, at OneBathAndClosets.com.
Cap D coming, 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 Cap D coming. Look at, give it, let me get that blue hot something for you. My brothers know you ain't nothing but so good. Bring daddy in the house, girl is
Uncle Luke, are you kidding me right now? Uncle Luke, if you're hearing that bumper coming back in, that would be one Luther Campbell. I need Gen X to vibe with me right now. Gen X, I need you dialed in. You remember when we were growing up and there was this big debate and I believe Tipper Gore had a big thing to play in it as well. And we had to have those little parental advisory explicit lyrics messages put on all of our cassette tapes and CDs if they had the dirty lyrics. Because you had Luther Campbell, the head of 2 Live Crew, as nasty as they want to be. That was an act of Congress to get that little stamp put on there for the explicit lyrics, or as we used to call it, the Kmart version otherwise. Would you believe that a man who in the 80s and 90s forced an act of Congress is now running for Congress?
Let me see you pop them things, shake them, do the brand.
Luther Campbell is running for the Florida 20th, y'all. This fall, folks will have the opportunity to vote for Uncle Luke, the man from 2 Live Crew. Somebody say, hey, we want a caucus. Luther Campbell is running for Congress. And oh, by the way, he's running as a Democrat. But oh, by the way, I visited his website. Dude's got a solid platform. I mean, he's over in Broward County. He wants to, job creation and port expansion. Broward County sits at one of the most strategically important economic locations in the hemisphere. Port Everglades and Fort Lauderdale need growth. Luther's on the case. He wants to make sure that affordable housing and insurance reform runs its way through Congress. Uncle Luke, 2 Live Crew, is actually running for Congress. How is it a man that forced Congress's hand when it came to profanity and lyrics? I wanted to play other songs, but there aren't even clean versions of me, so you know what? Not going to say that last word because we're about to hand off to Moon Griffon, and I think none of us are. 2 Live Crew in Capitol Hill. Is this even possible to have Luther, of all people? Unreal. Vote Luke, Uncle Luke, 2026, y'all. We got to get out of here. Moon Griffon's coming up next. He's got a full slate for you, so stick around. How in the hell is 2 Live Crew running for Congress? All right, we're getting out of here, guys. I'm just stacked up before Rotary, so we'll see you tomorrow.